All right, let me get right into how today is going to go. The Golden State Warriors right now are practicing at Chase Center. Steve Kerr, after practice, is going to meet the media. When he meets the media, we will cut right to it. Why? Because the Golden State Warriors had a physical altercation at practice yesterday between Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. Apparently, Draymond Green may have punched Jordan Poole. The Warriors are mulling a suspension for Draymond Green. And I think we'll find out more when Steve Kerr talks. It might be in 5 minutes, it might be in a half hour, but we're going to go right to it, JD, when he comes out.
And one thing I would imagine is if there is going to be some kind of discipline, I would almost think that it's going to get leaked out in the couple of minutes in between practice ending and when Steve Kerr goes into that interview room. Like, I'm just going to, don't be surprised if we see a tweet from somebody about, Draymond fined, right, and suspended for, if that's the course that they're going to go. I'd be stunned, by the way, if he's suspended for opening night. Like, I would be absolutely stunned. You're going to really tell Draymond Green he's got to sit out ring night against the Lakers? Like, to me, then, if you didn't have a problem with Draymond Green before, and I'm Draymond Green, you'd have a problem then if you're telling me I can't play that night.
Interesting. 888-957-9570. If you want to jump into the conversation, there are so many branches to this. And while we don't know exactly what happened, come on, we know it's about money. We know it's about Jordan Poole on the verge of getting paid and maybe Draymond Green not getting paid. And he knows that. He knows that. I think there's a last dance type of feel to this. Absolutely. I mean, this is what happens to teams that have had success over a long period of time. Money, contracts. And you know what, Joe Lacob, to me, kind of set it up. There are four guys who would like to get paid within the next 2 years. Poole, Wiggins, Draymond, and Klay Thompson. And he can't pay all four of those guys. So decisions are going to have to be made, and we all know it. And nobody's blaming Joe Lacob for not being able to sign everybody.
No, and look, a lot of this can take care of itself depending upon the way that this season plays out. Jordan Poole's the first order of business just because he has that extension deadline. Here's the deal. If I'm Draymond Green, and I'm going to put it real right off the top. If I'm Draymond Green and Jordan Poole is running his mouth, talking smack to me like he's arrived in the league and he's already an all-star and he's already a superstar because he's about to get paid, then I can see where Draymond Green might want to get into an altercation with him. That's just being real. I can also see where Jordan Poole's act is something that could rub some of the veteran players, the champion veteran players, the wrong way. Maybe not all of them, but I know Klay's made some comments about how he likes to humble Jordan Poole. I know Draymond mentioned on his podcast how Klay mentioned that he likes to humble Jordan Poole and that Draymond loves seeing Jordan Poole get humbled. So I think that's part of it too. It's not the money necessarily, but it's the fact that it's your demeanor. And so, that being said, if Draymond punched him in the face, that's not right at all, and he'll have to be disciplined for that. The question becomes, what's the extent of the discipline? Is it a big fine? Is it a suspension? And it's also not necessarily an indictment of Jordan Poole and his work ethic and all of that. It's your demeanor. And to me, it's oil and water between Draymond Green's demeanor and the way he conducts himself and the way Jordan Poole conducts himself.
I mean, absolutely. When I heard these two got into a fight at practice, and I thought about it for a minute or two, my first thought was, I could see that. Because they are different. And I can see how Draymond Green priding himself on being kind of the gatekeeper of the Warriors' legacy and the culture. Now, when we talk about this today, I got to make it clear that I'm not on really a team here. But I can put myself in Jordan Poole's shoes. And I can totally see why he's at the point where maybe he doesn't feel like he has to take it from Draymond Green anymore. The one thing I keep coming back to, there's some logistical things that to me are so obvious you just can't overlook them. Next year, Draymond Green is set to make $27.5 million. It's his option. If Jordan Poole signs an extension this year, it'll likely be for about $125, $130 million. That means in the first year of Jordan Poole's extension, he's making more than Draymond Green in his highest paid year.
Okay.
Because he'll start at like 28, 29, let's say. So Draymond has worked for 12 years. He's at the highest amount he's ever made, $27.5. And here comes Jordan Poole, who's going to go 28, 31, 33, 35. Like, that would be something that's in my head.
You think that could lead to resentment?
Absolutely.
Sure.
And then I just happened to look up Draymond Green's career earnings. $131 million over his career, which just happens to be about the number that Jordan Poole probably wants for 4 years.
The money is absolutely part of it. I don't think there's any doubt about it, and I think it's a big part of it. It's the starting point to it. But the thing that I keep coming back to in this is it's the money kind of gets Draymond feeling a certain way, but I think Draymond is smart enough to know and understand, hey, it's Jordan Poole's time to get paid based on his age and where he is in his contract and his NBA career. And I think Draymond Green, while it may bug him a little bit, I think he understands that it's just the way it works. But to me, it's more, you're going to get your money, young fella, but that doesn't give you the right to come at me running your mouth, talking smack, acting like you've already arrived on an all-star or superstar or future Hall of Fame level, when the reality is you got a lot of game you still need to work on to get to that level to back up that money that you're about to be getting paid.
I do not disagree. It's probably about Jordan Poole's cockiness.
It's demeanor.
No doubt. Absolutely. I think that's got to be part of it.
Money is one thing, but money and demeanor is a completely different thing.
You're right, but if Jordan Poole weren't getting paid, he probably wouldn't. Let's say he's taking it up a notch with his cockiness. Well, if he weren't getting paid this year, I don't think Draymond would care as much. But then again, Jordan Poole wouldn't be walking on water now if it wasn't a contract year coming off a title. You know what I mean? Like, I think one of the reasons he's feeling pretty good is because he knows he's going to get paid.
Sure. That's natural. That's normal. But again, it's how do you carry yourself?
Exactly.
And I think that's where there's the rift, is how do you carry yourself?
And, I was putting myself in Jordan Poole's position. And I'm not saying Jordan Poole's right. I just know probably some of the things he's feeling. And if I'm Jordan Poole, you know what I'm saying? I'm the hardest worker on this MF. Ain't nobody in here, Steph Curry included, who's worked harder than me. I was a scrub 3 years ago. I was a laughing stock. Nobody thought I should even be in the league. And 3 years later, I'm a heck of a player. I've improved more than anybody on this team, and I've worked harder than anybody on this team. And you know what, Draymond? Yeah, you might be a 4-time champion, but how hard have you worked? How's that 3-point percentage creeping up there over the last 5 years? You don't get to punk me because I work harder than you. I know I'm only 23 and I only have one title, but I work harder than you. So you can't do that to me anymore. Again, I'm not saying he's right. I'm just saying, wouldn't that be what a competitive athlete feels inside?
It's all how it manifests itself going outward, though.
Absolutely.
It's how you do it. That's a big part of it. And I think just, again, the fact that I think Draymond Green looks at Jordan Poole as, you're a nice young player that has a level or maybe two levels you can get to if you continue to work. Like, don't. Right. I think Draymond Green would implore Jordan Poole to not act as if the work is done because you're about to get 120, 130, or even north of that in terms of the $1 million that are going to be in your bank. But you act like a dude that is about to be too cool because you're going to get that money. Just because you're going to get that money doesn't mean you're on the Steph, Clay, Draymond tier.
Right.
There is a pecking order. There is a tier to the Warriors lore here. And it's those three on top, and then you draw a line. And so I could see Jordan Poole in Draymond's eyes acting like, hey, I'm one of the big boys now because I'm about to get this paper.
Yep.
And Draymond's like, it doesn't matter that you're about to get this money. You got a long way to go until you're one of us three.
But, or I should say because but makes it sound like I'm disagreeing with you, and I'm not. That's why this is, to me, just so fascinating. Because Poole does have, whether you like it or not, Poole's got a gripe. You know, it's funny. If I'm Jordan Poole, and I'm dead serious, and you know it's coming down to stuff like this if it's getting personal. Draymond Green saying, hey, you're still only 23, man. Don't think for a minute you're now me, Steph, and Clay. And you know what Jordan Poole says? MF, you're doing the same thing as me. Don't you dare think you're in the same league as Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. You ain't in that league, Draymond. You think you're in that league, so you giving me grief about thinking I'm one of you? Who the hell do you think you are to think you're one of Clay or Steph?
And that's where a young fella, though, a young fella can't get away with that.
No,
in
you're
my
right.
mind, to
You're right.
To the extent to where a veteran player could. Like it is two different rules for different folks. Like that's just the reality of the situation.
But you know, if you're in the middle of it and you're chirping and you're saying the most hurtful things possible.
He may think that, though, and that's why they come nose to nose, and then something's got to happen, and that's where clearly it sounds like Draymond did cross a line,
right.
And now the Warriors are going to have to deal with it and see how it plays out, and, of course, not the first time that Draymond has crossed a line.
Right. All right, here's what's going on. We're going to go to Steve Kerr live after practice. We're going to take it live here on 95.7 The Game. Warriors are practicing at Chase Center right now. And when practice is over, Steve Kerr's going to talk to the press, and we're going to take it live. Might be in 5 minutes, might be in 15. It all depends on how long the Warriors are going to practice today. 888-957-9570. That's also the number for the Comcast Business text line. You want to jump into this conversation. It's juicy, and it's legitimately juicy. Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole. He punched him. So I think that's a kind of big deal. Like, to me, there's so many, what's the word? Not analogies, but there's so much to this. One of the reports I saw from Chris Haynes, Yahoo, was that Draymond and the Warriors feel like Jordan Poole's changed. He's changed a little bit.
Yeah.
And of course, like, where I go to immediately is, who the hell has changed more than Draymond Green over his career? Second round pick, and now he thinks he's the face. Like, so every argument you can use against Poole, if you really want to, you can use it against Draymond. And they're two very important players on this team at all. I mean, for sure.
They are. And I think, again, it goes back to the different rules for different players. And I would imagine that Draymond Green is not the only player that thinks and has seen the demeanor shift in Jordan Poole. And I think, it's a lot like, brothers or friends that get in a fight, right? Where you're so close with somebody that you like them, you respect them, you want to see them do well. Hell, you even love them. But at the same time, Draymond being the type A personality that he is, if he sees something that he feels is going afoul, you're going to call him on it. And I think Jordan Poole's in a position where he's not going to back down to Draymond maybe the way he would have a couple of years ago, because now Jordan Poole's feeling confident in his lot in the NBA and his place in a pecking order on this team, and that's what leads to nose, and then somebody's got to act.
Yeah. Incredible. 888-957-9570 is the number. When we come back, we're going to go to Steve Kerr's press conference. He's meeting with the media after practice. We'll bring that to you as soon as he takes the podium. If you want to jump in and comment on this, Draymond at it again. He's at it again. 888-957-9570. Get at the heart of the NFL with In the Huddle. That's the podcast with former offensive lineman Brian Baldinger and NFL insider Jason La Canfora. They team up with the man who pulls no punches, Carl Dukes. New episodes are out every Tuesday and Thursday. Follow In the Huddle on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Dr. Trudy Fleer here with the 5G Home Recovery Podcast. Let's discuss a very real existential threat to internet speed. It's a big one. Ready? T-Mobile Home Internet. It lags. Ugh. Now, what is lag? Lag is a delay in data being transmitted across the internet. For example, you're hitting that hot drop, the parachute cuts out, you've got an unsuspecting bot in your sights, and lag! You were actually eliminated 10 seconds ago. Nobody deserves that. So stop letting T-Mobile Home Internet ruin everything and switch to Xfinity. Learn more at xfinity.com/TMOFax.
Get an amazing value on Xfinity Internet with unlimited data included. Switch for $55 a month for 2 full years with no annual contract required and no equipment fees for 24 months. Go to xfinity.com/TMOFax, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to learn more. Requires paperless billing and autopay. Ends 10/17/22. Restrictions apply. New fast internet and xFi Complete customers only. xFi Gateway required. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you may be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to GetRefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
Don't waste your time trying to sell your old car. Donate it to Cars for Kids. It's the easiest and fastest way to donate your car and get a tax deduction. Donate online at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Golfers, now at the Golf Mart, it's time to hit faster, longer, and straighter with Titleist. The new TSR drivers are designed to maximize distance and elevate your performance. Titleist TSR driver, pushing for perfection every day. Come into the Golf Mart for the new Titleist TSR drivers and get custom fit for free today. Can't make it in store? Visit us online at worldwidegolfshops.com. The Golf Mart, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee and family owned and operated since 1984.
Have you ever hired a commercial painting company, then been stuck managing your own project? Hi, this is Matt Jesse, president of MB Jesse Painting. We know how busy you are and that you need professional painters who are actually professionals. My team has the experience, training, and credentials to get the job done. If you've been waiting for the right time to paint, this is it. Call 855-MB-JESSE today or visit us online at mbjesse.com.
MB Jesse. At Harris Ranch, we do beef, just like we've done for over 50 years. Beef that's raised locally right here in California. Tender steaks, awesome burgers, and California classics like tri-tip roast. The flavor you crave, the quality you trust time after delicious time. Come on, it's time to get out and grill. Harris Ranch, we do beef. Legendary beef, legendary quality.
It's Joe Shasky from The Morning Roast. And if you're an independent restaurateur or are starting a brand new business, then you gotta know about my friends at Trimark. Trimark, making independent restaurateurs' dreams come true in Northern California for over 55 years. Whether you're designing your next restaurant or you need equipment and supplies, this is where Trimark comes in. They do it all. And what's most important to them is being a partner to their business customers. Visit TrimarkWest.com. That's TrimarkWest.com.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code JOY at checkout. That's harrys.com, code JOY. Enjoy.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
All righty, here's what's going on. We got John Dickinson in for Daryl the Guru Johnson. We've got Draymond Green, who punched Jordan Poole yesterday at practice. Here's what we know. Steve Kerr, Bob Myers, and Steph Curry are going to talk to the media today after practice. And we'll have it live. We'll have it all live.
It's a mitigation sensation.
Yeah, Steve Kerr, Bob Myers, and Steph Curry. The first thing that tells me, and this is always kind of why I like these new Warriors, they ain't going to sugarcoat anything. They're not going to say we're keeping it in-house. They'll keep details in-house, but they're not going to, JD, try to fool anybody like this didn't happen or it's no big deal. No, I think they're going to have to dole out some kind of penalty.
Well, and my initial reaction to it is the fact it's the last part that you just said. To me, it's when you're putting Bob and obviously Steve and Steph out there, to me, they're going to come out and acknowledge, regardless of the circumstances that led up to it or how Draymond feels about this or how Poole feels about that what Draymond did was over the line and wrong. Like, I think that's going to be the headline from Bob Myers' announcement and then having the face of your franchise speak after that in addition to your head coach.
888-957-9570. That's the Comcast Business text line number also. Let's go to Jesse. Jesse's in San Jose. How you doing, Jesse? What's going on?
I'm doing pretty good. Hey, look, let me see if I can get this all off before y'all shut me off. If Draymond did take off on Jordan Poole, man, I hope Jordan Poole took off right back. With that being said, Iguodala is the perfect fit for this. Perfect veteran. If they showed Jordan Poole how to get a bag, right? If these veterans want to keep this core together, they got to take a pay cut and let this young man eat. Because where I come from, man, if somebody else is getting that bag, they ain't going to show me how to go out there and eat. So, let's keep...
Yeah, thanks, Jesse. To me, Iguodala's an accomplice.
Yeah. And it's nice to have him because he obviously respects Draymond and I think has the respect of Draymond. But he also, to your point, he's the guy in Jordan Poole's ear talking about making sure you get this and that, every penny, and you got to do it.
It's a business, and it's nothing but a business. See, I think this is one of those things where sometimes I extrapolate. And I'll tell you what, here's how we'll know if we have a problem here. If Jordan Poole can't stand, if they can't play together, which I don't believe is the case. But who knows? I mean, this is one of those things where if Andre Iguodala were Jordan Poole and had the same situation, knowing what he knows now, you know what I mean? I guarantee you Iguodala would be in there saying, tell you what, I ain't re-signing here. You know, I was thinking about signing for 110. I'm not re-signing here. If this guy Draymond Green, I'm not taking this for my career. I don't deserve this. I work hard. This guy's bullying me day in and day out. You got to do something about it.
Well, I'll tell you what a lot of Warrior fans are thinking today.
What?
A lot of Warrior fans are thinking today, well, Draymond chased Kevin Durant out the door with the antics, and now what if he chases Jordan Poole out the door as well? Is that something that the Warriors can put up with? Because I do think there's a certain set of the fan base that's going to say, much ado about nothing. Yes, you have to discipline Draymond, but they can still for sure play together.
Right.
This year, it's all about getting back on track and trying to defend the title and win another championship. But I also think that the flip side to it is somebody's got to go, or somebody might have to go. And we look at the way things played out with Durant. Look, Jordan Poole's not Durant, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of Warrior fans out there that are thinking, well, we need Jordan Poole for the next 8 years more than we need Draymond Green for the next 4 or 5 years.
No doubt about it.
It's a legitimate talking point or discussion. I think every Warrior fan's having that discussion today.
I think so too. And I think it's like, this is not much ado about nothing. And the reason it's not much ado about nothing is because the template has been placed there by Joe Lacob. And that template is, I might not be able to pay everybody. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to pay everybody. Okay. Well, there's a few guys in this team who can get paid right now. There's a couple guys who get paid next year, and they want to get paid, and maybe it's just like sharks going after money. I can see why this has happened in a way, or I can see why these two maybe are going at it. And I'm not team Poole, team Draymond. Stuff about Draymond, but it's like all Dre's strengths and weaknesses play into Poole's strengths and weaknesses, or vice versa, to make them clash.
Their demeanor is oil and water.
Right.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Let's go to Andrew in San Jose. Hey, Andrew, what's going on?
What's going on, you guys? Man, aren't the Warriors just the greatest thing on TV? It's the middle of football season. We're talking about a scuffle in practice. But my question for you guys is, so like Steiny said, this whole thing has branches, right? And another branch that I think a lot of people don't think about is the fact that, one, out of the big three, Draymond is the lowest paid of all of them, right?
Yep.
On top of that, we talk about how Draymond was, he's mailed it in the 15-win season, but not only did he mail it in, but he took that TNT job. And in that year or since he's been doing that, if we don't think that those conversations between him and Kenny Smith and Charles Barkley aren't happening behind the scenes of like, yeah, man, you're complaining about getting paid, but I made $40 million for my whole career. So Draymond gets those little seeds in his brain, and then over the offseason, you get Jordan Poole doing Jordan Poole, and the yesterday situation happens. I feel like that was kind of Draymond bringing all of his frustrations with money to the surface, because at the end of the day, he may not be the most talented out of the big three, but he is a part of that core, and he's the lowest paid one, and he always has been. So I don't know. Maybe I'm over exaggerating it, but I just wanted to hear what you guys had to think about it.
No, appreciate the call, and there's so many valid points of view. By the way, we will be joining Steve Kerr, Bob Myers, and Steph Curry's press conference as soon as it starts. In case you haven't heard, Draymond Green and Jordan Poole got into a fight at practice yesterday. The Warriors are practicing right now, and usually Steve Kerr will talk to the media after practice, but clearly they're going to just attack this thing head on, and Bob Myers is going to be at the press conference along with Steph Curry. So I guess the one thing I'll infer from that, JD, is it's not a small deal.
That's a huge deal.
Because Bob Myers wasn't going to be at this press conference. And chances are Steph wasn't either.
Well, and if you're going to be imposing some sort of discipline, I mean, that's going to come from Bob Myers.
True.
Right? Like that, I mean, I go back to the night in Los Angeles in November of 2018 when you had the Durant-Draymond issue, and the next night before they played the Hawks, it was Bob Myers coming into the press conference to announce and discuss the fact that he was going to be suspended for that night.
That's right.
And so this, to me, has a very similar feel to it as it sets up now, and everybody's kind of waiting.
So one of the things, too, that I think is a branch of this, at least as it goes to the Warriors, is Draymond Green and what his value is. And I think every Warrior fan acknowledges that he's worth more to the Warriors than other teams. But I do think there's two things going on here. One is, I think he's looking at his contract, and he knows the timing's not great. Draymond. I think he looks at his contract. He says, okay, I have 2 more years. I can opt out in a year. I want that one more contract, the thank you contract. I want one more. And he's in a rock and a hard place, though, because he's playing less games. He's still effective when he plays, but he's starting to break down a little. And that would scare him. Like, I would not, like, okay, the extension this year, no chance. Because here's another thing I'm worried about with Draymond. Not only, I think if you extend him, let's say Draymond had, he's going to turn into Andre Iguodala, I think. I really do. I think he'll play less if he gets a 4-year contract. The other thing is, he's already made it clear he has no interest in playing lousy teams. All he likes to do is get up for the big game. So even if you wanted to trade Draymond Green, A, you're not going to get value, and B, if you're an average team or worse, you're not going to trade for Draymond.
And C, you still need him to win a championship, which is hanging over all of this when you want to start to get into the conversation about who do you, if somebody has to go, well, let me tell you something. If Draymond has to go, then you're not winning a championship this year, and you're not winning a championship probably next year.
And I'm not willing to go that far. I think it's within the realm of possibility they could win it all without Draymond.
Boy, why?
Because, kind of like I said in the changeover, last year they did have some success, more than they've ever had, playing without Draymond. They paid the price when he wasn't in periodically. But when everybody talks about, well, at what point does the problem exceed the play? I think we're kind of getting there.
Yeah, we've been talking about that for 3 or 4 years,
You're right.
though, and we're still not quite there. And I know we were having the conversation, which we've had a lot in the green room, and producer E and I have gone back and forth on the whole. Well, Draymond didn't play well in a lot of the finals, and he's right, he didn't. But he also, or Draymond helped them win 2 finals games, and that was like sort of the limit. Well, if you don't win those 2 finals games, you don't win the finals.
Right.
And so it's like, would you rather have Draymond playing at an elite level for the final 2 finals games, which wind up being the deciding games of the finals, or would you rather not have them at that point? And sure, to your thinking, they won games in the regular season without him. I think the regular season's completely different. Yeah, they found a way to win when he got ejected in Memphis. Maybe that's a game they would have lost. But if you're just saying Draymond flat out is not in the equation, that dude is a championship-winning player on both sides of the ball, and he was a man possessed in the final 2 games of the NBA Finals and helped the Warriors finish the deal and win that championship. He's also a big part of keeping Steph Curry and his rhythm going when Steph is taking over the final 2+ games of that finals, going back to Game 4. So it's not nothing, and I'd be extremely reluctant if you still want to win NBA championships to just be casting Draymond Green aside because he couldn't keep his anger in check and might have popped Jordan Poole when he shouldn't have.
I think that the overarching problem right now with Draymond Green is he's still important when he plays, but he does not play enough, and he's not effective enough for as long as he used to be. He played 46 games. Like, you can't keep him around and pay him a healthy number if you know you're only going to get half a season and half the playoffs. Now, you might say, well, that might be good enough for them to still win it all. It might be, but it might not be either. Like, I think they won it last year, and he did as little as like he did the bare minimum and they could still win it. You know what I mean? Like, if he plays any worse, they're not going to win it, is what I'm saying.
Well, if he's not on the team, they're also not going to win it.
Fair. That's fair. Last year.
and moving forward.
Well, that's not where I'm going.
If you take
that's not what I'm
Draymond
going
Green
with.
away from this team for this season coming up, let's just go 1 year at a time. How are they going to win the NBA championship?
How'd they win 9 in a row when he got hurt last year?
You're playing whoever you're playing in that. Detroit and Sacramento and Houston, and I don't know exactly when it was, but you can win regular season games. There's plenty of teams that can win regular season games.
I believe.
Without a key player.
Well, I'm just saying, I think if they don't have Draymond Green, a championship, at this point, listen, they wouldn't have won 4 titles without Draymond. I think they're at a point now where it's more possible than ever before that they could win without Draymond. Not that they will.
Got to replace him with somebody else that's going to bring that level of production in the ways that he brings that production.
Yeah. When he brings it.
Right. Well, he
doesn't bring it consistently.
He brings it in the finals.
But he is not. He's not as consistent as he used to be.
Okay, not as consistent. That's fine. But the question is not playing hard once it gets to the playoffs. The question is how consistently is he effective.
Right.
And I hear you, it's less consistent, but you still want to have him.
See, I believe if he continues to get less consistent and play less games, they ain't winning it anyway.
Sure. I mean, I think that's possible. But that's a question about the coming years, and do you sign him and do you give him an extension and all that, which I don't, is that really even what we're talking about today?
Okay. Well, here's the
other
thing.
Part of
Sometimes when we talk like this, we act as though I'm talking about getting rid of Draymond tomorrow. No. He's got 2 years left, and he's got a player option. What I'm saying is, maybe you let this year play out, and I'm not giving him an extension, obviously. So let's see what he's got this year. Does he have another 40-game season where he plays half the playoff games and he's really good, but he's not really good, and now it's so I'm not saying trade Draymond now, but I'm going to say this, and this is what I believe. I believe Draymond Green has signed his last contract with the Warriors. That's what I believe. I do not believe he will be on the team in 3 years. I might be wrong. David in L.A. What's up, David? How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, man?
How are you?
I'm good. I just want to go back to, Jordan Poole thing, and, I just want to say something that back in Japan, after a 3-point contest, I think Klay Thompson said something in an interview how, after beating Jordan Poole, he needed to humble him for a bit. I thought that was just something interesting to make a note about. That's what I want to say. Have a good one. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, and JD brought that up earlier, and I think I think we can all acknowledge that Draymond's probably not the only Warrior that thinks, for lack of a better term, Jordan Poole's gotten too big for his britches.
There's no doubt. He's not. There's no doubt in my mind that he's not the only one. Now, does that make it acceptable to hit a guy in the face? Absolutely not. And they're going to have to hold Draymond accountable for that. But what I'm getting at is I can see how that can happen. I can see how they can end up like Draymond. I'm not dealing with this yapping from you. Even if you are going to get paid. Like in a way, it's about the money, but it's also not about the money. You know what I mean? The money may be part of why there's festering resentment, but I think Draymond Green's smart enough to know, hey, this kid's going to get his money and he's earned it, but it's also a level of don't act like because you've got that money, that gives you free reign to run your mouth at a level even higher than you already had to this point of your career. And if you are, I'm going to check you.
Yep. I'm willing to say that might be exactly right. And yet, I totally get where Poole's coming from, too, on this. 888-957-9570 is the number if you want to jump into the conversation. And again, here's what's going on. We're going to go to the Steve Kerr, Bob Myers, Steph Curry press conference as soon as it begins. The Warriors are practicing right now, and then those three are going to meet the media after practice, and Bob Myers will obviously talk about a penalty maybe for Draymond Green, who apparently punched Jordan Poole yesterday at practice. So we'll be all over it here on 95.7 The Game. Here's the other thing. I wonder what the dynamic is. So Jordan Poole's maybe acting too big for his britches. And a bunch of the veterans are kind of noticing it. And there is something to Clay saying, kind of humble. Why wouldn't Steph Curry and Clay go up to Jordan Poole and say, "Hey, young fella, listen, man, you got a chance to be great, and it's exciting when you get that first contract, but you don't have to do this anymore. Like you know what I mean? Like, whatever. Be a little more humble. Like, why not that? Why does Draymond, in essence, get to punch him in the face when we all know that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are more level-headed? Like, I don't know. You always hear about the Warriors. Why didn't Steph Curry? There's no criticism on Curry, trust me. But I would think Curry and Klay could have gotten this under control.
I mean, Klay is not the vocal type leader in that realm.
He can sit in the back.
He at least says he's not. And I don't know. Maybe Steph didn't think it was that big of a deal. Like, you also want to let people be themselves too. And I think that helps foster a lot of the what's been great about the Warriors culture. Now, part of that is maybe Jordan Poole getting a little out of pocket.
Yeah, maybe.
Part of that's been, over the years, Draymond Green getting out of pocket in his own way.
Yeah. And maybe they did. Maybe Steph did talk to him 2-3 weeks ago. I get it. We don't know what happened. 888-957-9570 is the number. Jorge's in San Jose. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. I agree with Steiny. I think the Warriors let it play out because if Kuminga actually lives up to his potential, which they'll see this year, he's going to take Draymond's spot anyway. And with all the young guys and Wiggins, Draymond in 2 to 3 years is a glorified bench warmer, right? He's like Iguodala, like Steiny says, and you're going to be paying him $80 to $100 million a year with the luxury tax. I think we just got to let him go after this year if he doesn't improve.
Thanks for the call.
Well,
I'll go along with
a lot of Jonathan
I'll go
Kuminga.
along with everything you said, except Kuminga's ready to
Kuminga may not even. Here's some breaking news for you.
I agree with that.
Here's some breaking news for you.
Yes.
Kuminga might not even be in the opening night rotation, but yet he's going to take over for Dre by next year. We'll see. We'll see.
What about JaMychal Green? Why did you give me that look? You don't think JaMychal Green could be Otto Porter?
No, I think. No, I was talking about replay. I gave you the look because I took.
You thought I was saying JaMychal.
I took that as offsetting Draymond Green's production. No, I think JaMychal.
Not all of it.
No, I think JaMychal Green's. There's two sides to that. The other part of it is, I think JaMychal Green's probably going to be playing more consistently than Kuminga at the beginning.
I think he might be.
So, anyway, not to get lost in the weeds on that.
No. But I get what you're saying. All right, here's what's going on. I'll tell you again because we got a lot going on. Jordan Poole and Draymond Green got into a physical altercation at practice yesterday at Chase Center. Today, Steve Kerr, Bob Myers, who's the president of basketball operations, and Steph Curry, I think it's fair to say the best player on the team, they're going to meet the media after today's practice at some point. The team is still practicing right now. And honestly, they could wrap it up in 5 minutes or 15 or a half hour. But when practice is over, they're going to talk to the media and probably penalize Draymond Green in some way if Bob Myers is in fact going to be there, which he is now. So we'll bring it all to you on 95.7 The Game, the flagship of the Golden State Warriors. Hey, Chris Cuomo is back with a new show on a new network. Catch Cuomo weeknights on News Nation at 5 p.m. Pacific to find News Nation on your television provider. Go to newsnationnow.com/join us.
Chris Cuomo is back with a new show on a new network. Catch Cuomo weeknights on News Nation at 5 p.m. Pacific. To find News Nation on your television provider, go to newsnationnow.com/join us.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now, and for a limited time, you get 30% off your entire order and 24 months of interest-free financing. 800-874-3600. 800-874-3600. That's 800-874-3600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Are you tired of being tracked online? There's a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Kirby is your driveway mechanic. They bring the shop to you with brake replacements, oil changes, washes, and so much more. Get $50 off your first oil change with code OIL50 at Kirby.com. That's CURBEE.com and use code OIL50.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Anywhere fans go to cheer on their team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs, ensuring everything is game day ready. We see you, Joe, fixing seats so every fan can enjoy every game. And Allie, who keeps her stadium running smoothly from the moment the first game starts to the last play of the season. At Grainger, you're our MVPs, and we're always here for you with supplies and solutions for every industry and 24/7 customer support. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. A bottle of Gum Out Fuel Injector Cleaner can clean your entire system and help your engine get more MPGs. Right now, you can get 2 bottles for only $7. A great deal to help you go a good deal farther. Find Gum Out Fuel Injector Cleaner and everything you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Chris Cuomo is back with a new show on a new network. Catch Cuomo weeknights on News Nation at 5 p.m. Pacific. To find News Nation on your television provider, go to newsnationnow.com/join us.
Come on, we're going to be late to the cookout.
I was just packing up my famous mac and cheese.
I hope you packed the Pepto, too.
Huh?
Pepto-Bismol provides fast relief from heartburn and indigestion. You know, that uncomfortable feeling after you eat too much? And after the deviled eggs, baked beans, and barbecue ribs? You're gonna need it.
Barbecue ribs? I should probably pack an extra shirt, too.
Good call.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, kgmz-fm at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
And can somebody give Bob some credit?
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
All right, Warriors still practicing. When they're done, Steve Kerr, Bob Myers, and Steph Curry are going to talk to the media. We're going to bring it to you live. Might be in 5 minutes, might be in 15 or longer. It depends how long they practice. They started at 11. But as soon as they come to the podium, we're going to go there live. Obviously, we're talking about Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. Draymond Green and Jordan Poole getting into it yesterday at practice. It ended, I guess, with Draymond Green throwing a punch and hitting Jordan Poole. And that's where we are today, JD. And there are a million ways we can go. I think the first thing we got to figure out is, well, can they still play together this year? Because the Golden State Warriors are going for an NBA title. So I'm going to assume that they're going to be able to play together after this is under the bridge. Well, I mean, you have to allow for the circumstance that Jordan Poole maybe is so upset that he says to the Warriors, get me out of here.
He's got a contract for this year.
Well,
and he's a restricted free agent for next year. Like that's the one part of this thing that I'm not worried about. Now, could there be lingering resentment both ways after everybody comes out and says, hey, it's no big deal, and here's the punishment, and Draymond probably apologizes at some point, I would imagine. Maybe not today, but I think that's coming. But at that point, I think to me, it's, yeah, absolutely, you can play together, and you're going to play together, and that isn't going to be a problem. If Jordan Poole wants out, then, well, you got a contract for this year, and you're a restricted free agent for next year, so we'll tell you whether you want out or not.
Well, what I'm getting at is there's a lot of Warrior fans that believe that Draymond Green was the reason Kevin Durant is out the door. And so while it may not happen in 24, 48 hours, a lot of Warrior fans are thinking, oh, man, is he going to drive Jordan Poole, our good young player, out of here? Yeah, it's a little early, yes, but I mean, you can't stop something from entering somebody's mind. 888-957-9570 is the number. Let's go to Jason in Napa. Hey, Jason in Napa, what's going on?
Hey, first-time caller here.
Cool.
I've been enjoying your guys' show. You actually brought up a couple different points that I wanted to point out. First of all, you should never get physical with your teammates. That's a no-go. I mean, he needs to apologize for that. And you guys were talking about why didn't Clay and Curry step in and do something about this altercation for Poole getting uppity with his newfound power. And we've always said that Draymond is the heart of the team. Lastly, defense wins championships. We always talk about the offense, but it's the defense that always steps up during the playoffs and wins those championships. So how much does defense cost, right? We know how much offense you get paid for the offense, but what is defense worth for a championship? Thank you.
Yeah, that's what the Warriors always have to try to figure out with Draymond Green. Nobody's saying Draymond Green isn't hugely important. And I'll say it again, I don't think they win titles without Draymond Green. The question is, what's going on with him and Jordan Poole? And it's important because Jordan Poole is at least somebody you think you might want long-term. And Draymond Green's at 32, and he's coming to the end of his contract. So how are Joe Lacob and Bob Myers going to handle it? It's going to be fascinating.
Well, the question becomes, again, if you decide you're going to move off of Draymond Green, do you have that replacement on the roster? And the answer right now is the Warriors don't have the replacement, or they don't know that they have the replacement on their roster. Could it be Kuminga? Could it be Wiseman? Sure, it could eventually be one of those guys, but we do not know that they have that player on the roster right now. It is beyond ridiculous to think that they do.
Right, and it's also to me beyond ridiculous to think they're going to make something happen, or they're going to make a transaction in the next week. You know what I mean?
No, this is the team.
Right.
For this year, this is the team.
I believe that also. Take a listen. This was from Draymond's podcast on the Volume. Oh, HBO's The Shop. This is vintage Draymond Green. This is coming out, I think, tomorrow. Take a listen.
If it's LeBron coming in, if it's a Giannis coming in, because them the games I live for.
Easy. You ready for them?
Easy. It's the nights I show up, and we playing against the sorry
Sacramento Kings.
I can't play.
Who, the Kings?
The Kings stink. You name them. OKC right now.
OKC.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah,
the Kings make it better this year, I hope. But it's like how am I supposed to get myself up with this engine and
you done play so many big time games
on this soft Tuesday?
Yeah.
That was from The Shop, and it's with PJ Tucker, LeBron James, Draymond Green. It'll air tonight on HBO. Oh, tomorrow, sorry. HBO. That's not flat. Listen, I get that's Draymond being Draymond, and it's kind of funny, but that's why you can't trade for Draymond unless you're a title contender. Because he acknowledges he's not going to play hard. And see, that is a part of this too, JD. We all know Draymond's importance to the Warriors. But, I think that's what rubs some Warrior fans the wrong way, and at times rubs me the wrong way. And it's this. What he said about the Kings and the Sorry, you're not good enough to do that. You're not Steph Curry to say that. I get it. You play hard and you're tough and you've got an all-around game, but you're not good enough to say, I don't feel like playing against bad teams.
I hear you on that. I hear you on that.
All right.
But relating it back to what's going on now and Jordan Poole also hasn't done enough to where he's the guy that can look at Draymond Green and be like, you're full of bleep for saying that.
Fair enough.
And I don't have to respect you or talk to you a certain way because you talk about these other teams and the way you handle your business in the league. You can say that's a bad look, and I agree it's a bad look, but you know what? He's come to play in enough of the other games, and they've won enough of the other games to where they can win championships. There's plenty of other star players in the league that feel the same way and play the same way, and those teams lose a lot of those games to a lot of those teams, and that's a big part of the reason why they end up behind the Warriors and can't beat them when the time comes to win an NBA championship or take it from them. Right. So it is a little bit of a different calculus here.
Steve Kerr, Bob Myers, and Steph Curry, they're going to come up shortly. They're going to talk to the media after practice is over today. We'll bring it to you live. And obviously, they'll have something to say about the incident in practice yesterday between Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. Stick here to 95.7 The Game for all the news. And there's going to be some. That's for sure. No doubt about it. Let's go to John in San Francisco. Says Draymond is a generational player. What's up, John?
Hey, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, man. I've been watching the NBA for 30-something years, man. I've never seen a guy like Draymond, so by that definition makes him a generational player. I can't believe he got callers calling in and saying Kuminga's going to take his job away from him. What? What are you watching, dude? Draymond Green, the closest thing to a Draymond Green was about 30-something years ago, which is, Dennis Rodman. But Dennis Rodman, he doesn't run the offense, right? He does a lot of all the things that Draymond Green does, but not running the offense. And who do you think is going to replace him in the lineup? Who knows the Splash Brothers the way Draymond Green knows the Splash Brothers? And the answer is nobody. So he for as long as the Warriors are in contention for a championship, Draymond Green is going to be a part of it.
Thanks for the call. There's two things that I somewhat disagree with it. And that is, I don't think Draymond is going to retire a Warrior. And how about, here's the part where I don't think they'll miss. And that is, Draymond's a real good passer in the half court. You can find big men who are pretty good passers in the half court and who would love to play with Steph and Clay. And they, like Bogut used to, they read that back door and when a guy's going to slip a screen and all that. Now, listen, I'm not saying he's replaceable, but the part I do think it's a little overblown is what he does for Curry and Clay offensively, because he doesn't create space. Now, he does pass, no doubt, but I think that's the least of my worries if Draymond's not a Warrior. It's like their half-court offense.
It'd be right at the top of mine, because to me, when push comes to shove, it's Steph and it's Draymond, and it's pick and roll, and it's teams coming at Steph and he gives it up, and Draymond ends up getting it back to him or getting it to somebody else to where they can make a play. I think Draymond Green would be a tremendous loss on both ends of the ball and not easily replaceable. I think his basketball IQ is at a level that it just, I mean, how many times does he get the ball and he, in a big spot where teams are taking Curry away, can get it back to Curry? Whether it's the dribble handoff or taking a step one way and kicking it to somebody and getting it back, and then Curry moving off him. And you can say a lot of that's Curry, and it is, but it's the chemistry that those two have together on that end of the ball that I think has really won the Warriors a lot of big games, because teams can't keep Steph down. They can do it for some of the time, but they can't do it for a whole game. They can't do it for a whole series. And that's been why the Warriors have been able to win a lot of these. Like that, to me, you're underselling the importance.
Like, if you just, we got to, you know what? Bob Myers at the podium, 95.7 The Game. Take a listen.
As you know, yesterday, as reported, there was an altercation. The people that were reported to be in it, that's accurate. Everybody's fine. Jordan practiced today, so Draymond didn't. Look, it's the NBA, it's professional sports. These things happen. Nobody likes it. We don't condone it, but it happened. Draymond apologized to the team this morning. Jordan was there in the room. I was there in the room, the team, the coaches, players, and we heard that. As far as any suspension, punishment, fine, we're going to handle that internally. And understand you might have questions on that, but that's going to be an internal process. As far as some of the reports, and I commend all of you for doing your job well. It didn't take long for this to get out, but some of it, I would say, from my vantage point, I don't feel, and more importantly, you should ask the players that you talk to. I don't think this was related to who's getting paid and who isn't. I don't sense that. Make your own conclusions. Probably more important what players think on that than what I think, but I don't see it. I've actually seen a really good group. I've really seen for people that went to Japan with us. Actually, it's one of the best vibes that we've had in my 12 years here, as far as camp and health and mental health, and camaraderie. But it's unfortunate, and not going to deny it. And it'll take some time to move through, but we'll move through it and move forward. And I'm confident that we will. We've got a good team. We got good leadership. We've got some guys that have been here a long time, and we haven't. This isn't our first, thing that's happened. First sense of adversity. We've been through some of this before, so don't like going through it, but it's part of the NBA and it's part of sports, and it's kind of where it is. I'll try to answer some of your questions. I probably won't give you everything, but I'll do my best.
Anyways, what's your biggest concern when you found out what happened? What was the first thoughts you had about how this might impact the roster and the guys, the chemistry?
First, like anything, Monty, you want to make sure everybody's okay. That's the number one thing. And after that, nobody likes these things. So how do you move forward? There's a process to these things. There's apologies. There's time. This is where you hope you have some equity in your team. But the very, very first thing is everybody okay? And as reported, Jordan did finish practice, which is a really good sign. And he didn't do it damaged. He did it like he normally would. So that'd be the first thing, Monty. And then after that, just got to heal. And that's really up to the players and their leadership. And I think we're good in that area. We'll get there. But yesterday was something we don't you wish doesn't happen, but sometimes it does.
You're listening to Bob Myers, president of basketball operations of the Golden State Warriors, addressing the media about the Draymond Green, Jordan Poole physical altercation.
Or does it make you kind of tired of having to deal with this?
Probably, you don't want to go through anything, Marcus. I mean, nobody wants to go through these things, but in a sense, people throw around the word family, but this group's been together a long time, which means you've been through a lot, like any of your relationships. So I actually think it helps to have some of the same people in the room. Even a guy like Iguodala, who was here, then left and came back. There's a lot of real relationships on this team that can withstand adversity. If you got a group of new guys, it's harder to trust each other than it is when you've been through stuff. And if you're in the NBA or anything in life and you're together a long time in an emotional place that we live in here, in a competitive place, things are going to happen that you'd like not to. But if you've been through it and then come out of it, more importantly, I think it puts you in a better place to do it again.
Bob, you said you don't think it had anything to do with contractual situations, but you are looking at two players, as you said, who are, at least in some ways, possibly getting contract extensions. Does this affect the way you would approach whether you're going to give Draymond or agree with a deal with Draymond or Jordan? Obviously, the deadline with Jordan is coming up. And by the way, have you talked to his representatives lately? And where are those?
Yeah, I'm not going to do the blow-by-blow negotiation. We've talked to them. We're going to keep talking. So that's ongoing. I don't think, Tim, this isn't change in approach. It doesn't change our feelings on it. I've asked the question directly to people involved on on our team, not involved. Like, do they think that? They've said no. I hope they're being honest with me. I can only answer that I don't see it. As an agent, I saw it. Around here, prior to this, I haven't seen... I don't know if Curry does such a good job of setting the tone, maybe by the fact that he never complained about his first deal, and that story's been told and is true. He just sets a tone of you have to act a certain way, and it helps. And Steve helps do that. So I don't see it, Tim. I can't get into people's minds, but you all will talk to the players. That answer will come out. I don't see that, and I don't feel it. It doesn't change. We're not going to pivot on our approach to our contract discussions. And the reason why we're not going to is I think we're going to be past this. I don't think this stays for the rest of the season. We'll move on. There's been a variety of things we've had to overcome, and we have. And I think we'll overcome this. So that's why it's not going to, I don't think, bleed into the contract stuff.
I just kind of want to get specifics on this morning. Draymond was in the facility, apologized in person to the team.
Yes.
And he didn't practice.
No.
I assume that was at least part of the disciplinary action.
Yeah, I mean, space is good. And Steve's going to speak to you as well. But I'm not going to get too much into more than he was here. He apologized and he didn't practice.
Did he leave right after?
He went home.
Okay. Do you expect, maybe this is more Steve, but do you expect him to practice tomorrow?
Ask Steve. I know the answer to that, but I'll let Steve do that one.
Bob, we've talked a lot about how Draymond's fire and passion, it is a good attribute for this team to have. Clay on Media Day said, if you play for the Warriors, you're going to get yelled at by Draymond. It's a bylaw by now. But does it ever come to a point where it becomes not good and can become toxic? I know you say you guys will work past this. You guys have in the past, but does it ever become a concern of, okay, these things have kind of happened more than once and there is a line somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, he has, right, he'll tell you he's been over that line, you know it, but he always comes back. And he's a unique guy. I mean, without him, we don't win. And I want to win. Our ownership wants to win. Our players want to win. Our players want him on the team. And if you play, that's the most important thing. Nobody's saying we don't want him around. We don't want him on the team. They know what he does. They know what he needs. But yesterday wasn't a good moment. It's bottom line, it wasn't. There's people in life that make mistakes and don't apologize or don't earn your trust back. He always does that. I don't think he likes putting himself in these spots. He's in one, and I think he'll find a way to earn the respect of his teammates and Jordan back, but that's the work he has to do.
You guys did put together this young and veteran two timeline thing, whatever you like to call it, two timeline. Is there some generation? I mean, I'm not even that it's that bad, but is there some generational friction here that's almost even normal? But do you see that sometimes, even like first unit versus second unit? And at some point, you have to expect some clashing between the generations?
I think you see it. I'd be lying if I said we don't have some of that, but it's actually healthy. Like the veterans crush the young guys all the time in scratches. I mean, the young guys, they need that. You know, it's a tough love type thing. Obviously not yesterday. You don't want that, but the NBA is rough. It's hard. It's hard to win. And so we have some of the best winners that the game has ever seen in our veterans. Like, no doubt. Steph, Clay, Draymond, Andre, like, show me people that have figured out how to win better. And winning is tough and it's hard. And if their job is to teach the young guys what it takes, then great. They're doing my job. Sometimes, yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of big brother, little brother stuff, like where you gotta overcome them. But our young guys are up to the challenge and they're not backing down and they're up for it. But there's a reason why the core has won at the level they have and the young guys haven't. So they got to learn that. But it's 99% of the time, Tim, that's healthy. And you like it, but you know, sometimes it tips over.
Considering you have these young guys, I don't know if in the past you've had this many young guys. I'm pretty sure you didn't. Are there any concerns about how they might experience this? And is that on Steve and the coaching staff to kind of coach them through, like, maybe even, this is not how we do things?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I keep using this guy's name, but like when he's not here, my job's gonna be a lot harder. Is Curry? Like, I walked him today. I'm like, you ready to do some leading? He goes, you guys got to pay me some more money. I said, we're paying you as much as we can. It's him, man. Like, you can't. He holds that line in such an easy manner. And our young guys, Draymond is absolutely a leader on this team, no doubt. But the young guys are all good people. All understand, like, what happened yesterday happens. I mean, if they stay in our organization, if they go other places, a lot of you have covered other teams. Doesn't mean what happened yesterday is right, but it happens. And it's really, what do you do next? What do you do after it happens? It happens in probably, I don't know, since I've been here, we've had stuff happen. But we've overcome it. So the young guys, I think this is where, again, it doesn't matter what I say. I don't play. So it's really Andre walking up to the young guy. One young guy said, "Does this happen a lot?" You know, we're like, no, this isn't normal. So some people, they don't know. It's brand new. But that's where the players, that's why you keep guys like Looney, who's young, but established as a leader. That's Andre. That's even Clay in some instances. That's Steph. And a lot of times it's Draymond that mentor these guys. And hopefully these young guys will do that for the next generation of people. That's professional sports. The young guys learn from the old guys. And I think they'll be fine learning from this. And I watched them today for a while. I don't see any big issues propping up at all. I don't feel that way.
You're listening to Bob Myers on 95.7 The Game as he meets with the media concerning Jordan Poole and Draymond Green's altercation yesterday at practice.
Yes. I figured the cat's going to be out of the bag at some point. I wonder, I know it's fresh, but with Jordan in particular, I mean, just from a life standpoint, you get stalked by another human being, that's going to leave a mark. Do you have any sense from Jordan about his ability to go forward with Draymond as a teammate and what sort of lasting impact, if any, might be here?
Yeah, look, he'll speak soon, I suppose. Draymond will speak. What he says is more important than what I say. That's up to him. But knowing Jordan like I do, he's a pretty resilient guy and he'll get through it. But I can't I'm not going to say how he feels, how he should feel. I'm not going to say, only I would know if it happened to me. But it's, Steve and I talked about when he got hit and, you figure it out, you hang on to it for the amount of time you need to, and you move on. But that's a good question to ask him. He'll answer it. But I have confidence that it won't erode the fabric of our team. I guess that's what I could say about it.
You kind of chatted about this earlier, Bob. Obviously, we know sports are competitive. People get in fights. It's not what anyone wants, but it happens. We all know that. Is the attitude of the team, is it awkward right now, or do they look at it just as that, as sometimes these things happen and we're moving past it? Or do you think it might take a little bit to kind of move past this? Is there awkwardness in the room, I guess?
I think it's less awkward than you think. Most of you, maybe you don't think it is. I don't know what you think, but it's not bad. Like, if you walked into, I guess if you were all in practice today, I don't think you would have seen some lingering awkwardness. I don't think you would have seen it. I didn't see it, and I didn't feel it. But I've been on teams where people have fought. I've been in gyms where there's been fighting. No one likes that. But every team has moved past it. I've never seen it ruin a team. Because you accept when you play a sport, and I'm not saying this is good. When things are that competitive as they are in professional sports, there's a certain level of things might go past a line. And you thank everyone that nobody got really hurt. So you learn from that. The worst things are when somebody gets really hurt by a punch or something like that. You have to learn. We have to learn. That's not okay. It's not like you get away with it, but it's almost like you got lucky. Nobody got hurt.
For us, we'll obviously kind of reference back to the Draymond situation a few years ago. And part of that was, they were speaking about the situation. What was said was very important in that situation. I don't know, what's your perspective on what was said that led up to the incident? Did that have to do with contract stuff, or was that just normal trash talk on a basketball?
I think some stuff got reported. I didn't hear that it was anything that hadn't been going on, our team's better than yours and stop calling those fouls, a normal kind of argument in a scrimmage. I didn't hear anything different than that, and no one told me anything different than that. And that question was asked, was this something beyond the line that was said? And the answer I heard was no, it was not anything different than a normal bickering in a scrimmage, is what I was told. I didn't hear it. I wasn't sitting close enough to hear it, but I've heard them argue. I've heard other players argue a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and I've been told it wasn't any different than that.
So, okay.
All right. Thank you. Oh, Monty.
Well, because you've been through this with Draymond, how would you, I guess, measure or articulate your level of disappointment with this happening at this time with this team so early before the season even starts?
Well, Draymond is one of my favorite players. I told him that, but I just said, you're better than this. Don't do this. Don't do this to yourself. Don't put yourself in this position. Still love the person. Don't love what he did, but still love the guy. So he's complicated. But he is a good person. He is a good person. He is. I've seen it. I've seen a lot of things he's done. Yesterday wasn't one of them. So you gotta. It's really in this job that I'm in. These are men. He knows what he needs to do, and he's got to make amends. And he started with that this morning. So I'm confident he'll do that. Thank you.
All right, that was Bob Myers. President of basketball operations of the Golden State Warriors, addressing the media. Steve Kerr is coming up next, and we'll go right to him as soon as I see him sit down on the Zoom. Draymond Green did not practice today, according to Bob Myers. He apologized to the team for throwing a punch at Jordan Poole, and Bob Myers said the punishment would be internal. meaning we probably won't hear what it is. But Draymond Green did not practice with the team today. And I guess to characterize what Bob said is, he thinks the team can move forward after this.
Yeah, a group of guys, Bob said, who can withstand adversity. And I think there was, you just look at Bob Myers visibly. I wouldn't go as far as to say shaken, but disappointed, sad. There was a sadness to Bob, which comes out as genuine in a lot of these difficult situations when we've seen him in the past. The one thing Bob did go out of his way to say a couple of times was that he didn't really think that this was about contract. And now that may not be why it actually got physical yesterday at practice. But the one thing I will say is nobody really knows why there would be resentment at a level to where some jawing could turn into something that gets physical. And I think that's where it may not have been a direct comment or conversation about money, but for one guy to be wanting to go at another guy, I think it's still safe to question or wonder if it still had something to do with the money in the contracts and who's getting paid and who's not.
No, I think you kind of nailed it. It's probably it goes hand in hand. It's Jordan Poole's demeanor, and he's getting a bag.
Yeah, Poole didn't say, "Hey, Dre, pipe down, big fella. I'm getting 120 large."
Right, exactly. Well,
in all likelihood, but Bob said as much. That it wasn't about directly about it's not directly about the money. That means that wasn't the conversation they were at. But that could be why
you better settle down, young fella. You ain't the first guy who's gotten paid here. You're just the next one who's getting paid here. That kind of thing. 888-957-9570 is the number. Steve Kerr likely to come to the podium next. And then Steph Curry.
The other part that Bob mentioned I wanted to hit you with was couple of different times he said everybody's fine, meaning fine physically, meaning Jordan Poole is fine physically, able to practice today, and all of that. He also referenced, and I think this was more of a general than a specific statement, that, in a situation like this, you're lucky when somebody doesn't get hurt from, say, the punch. That kind of made me wonder, maybe it was a little bit more serious or more ugly than maybe even had been reported.
Well, and let's not bury one of the leads. That is apparently Steph Curry's demanding a pay raise. That was kind of funny.
Well, we got the question earlier about leadership and all of that. And look, we've heard Bob say it. Steph's the culture. And his ability to handle himself in these situations, and we'll hear him speak here coming up at some point in the next few minutes, but that's his tone is why Bob sounded so confident that they can move forward.
Right. 888-957-9570 is the number. You want to jump in on the conversation. You just heard Bob Myers, president of basketball operations, address the media. Head coach Steve Kerr is going to do it momentarily, and then we're going to cut right back live to that. In the meantime, let's go to Bay Rob. But Bay Rob, just know I may have to cut you off if Steve Kerr sits down. What's going on, Bay Rob?
I've got you, Steiny and JD, but y'all been on point. My thing is this. I'm disappointed in Draymond, and this is the reason why. Draymond, the big brother around here. You don't do that to your little brother. If he jawing off, you just walk off. You know what I'm saying? And talk to him later. You don't do that to your big brother. And second of all, I don't think Draymond is going to go anywhere because Draymond is basically Stephen Curry joystick. Draymond does everything that Stephen Curry needs. Stephen Curry need him to do without Stephen Curry talking to him on the court. So that's the importance of Draymond out there on that court is because he know everything that's going on. So Jordan Poole, I think Jordan Poole will be gone before Draymond is gone, and it's all because of Stephen Curry.
Good stuff, Bay Rob. And a lot of people share your sentiment. I'm not quite with you. I think I think Poole will be a Warrior longer than Draymond Green. That's my hunch. I'm not gonna. I wouldn't put money on it. That's just my hunch.
I wouldn't say that Jordan Poole signing a contract extension in the next 10 days would necessarily salt that away.
JD, you know this about me. My parents are English teachers, and I'm very literal. That's why I didn't go there, buddy. I just said that Jordan Poole will be a Warrior longer than Draymond.
I hear you.
So basically,
I wasn't even coming down your road.
No,
I was
know.
just saying that's like don't think that the contract extension means that that's that's done.
No, I actually don't.
And that was more for the audience than you specifically, if that makes sense. Like, not everything is a direct response to you.
All right. Steve Kerr at the microphone on 95.7 The Game.
Was in here before, so I will let Bob's words speak for the organization. As a coach, anytime there's something that happens, we try to handle things internally. It's very difficult to keep everything in-house, obviously. But Bob handled your questions, and so I'm not going to answer anything more because Bob already answered what needed to be answered. The only thing I will say is that Jordan has been fantastic throughout camp. There was a report that I was made aware of last night that someone put out there that Jordan had an attitude in camp. Nothing could be further from the truth. He's been fantastic. So disappointing to see misinformation out there. But I wanted to make sure I set the record straight on that. Everything else we will handle internally, and we'll go from there.
The one question he kind of did defer to you on was, he said, Draymond obviously came in, apologized today, left, didn't practice, asked if he would be at practice the next few days. He said that something he knows, but would defer to you on.
Didn't practice today. I won't be here tomorrow, and I expect him to return on Saturday and get back at it.
How would you like to navigate this as a group? Any emotions to make sure feelings don't fester? That there's no resentment.
It's for us to handle, privately. So.
You guys did scrimmage today. You said that Clay was doubtful for that scrimmage. Did he get to scrimmage, or what?
Clay did not scrimmage. He did a lot of work on the side, as did Andre. We had a fantastic scrimmage. I couldn't have been more happy with the effort, with the production. A lot of guys played really well. And so it's exciting given that, we've been at it now for 10 days or so, with a trip to Japan in the middle of all that. This was not an ideal way to map out camp, but I could not be any happier with the progression of our young guys, the integration of our new guys, and just the overall performance. It's been very impressive.
So Clay's not going to play on Sunday.
Clay won't play Sunday. Yeah.
Steve, are you guys going to do anything at all tomorrow?
No.
Okay.
No.
I know this is related to that, but I mean, from your personal point of view, and I asked Bob the same question, is, because you guys have been through a few things with Draymond in the past, how would you articulate your level of, I guess, disappointment to see this happen at this time?
Again, Bob covered all that. Everything from my position as a coach is that, it's my job to handle things internally with the team. And so there's lots of communication that happens. And we do our job to keep the team moving forward.
Steve, what do you see from Steph's leadership example currently, and just as the veteran on this team?
I think Steph over the last couple of years has really grown as a leader because he's had to, because our team has changed so much. In a very short period of time, we went from being an older team to a super young team. And as Steph observed all of that, he knew he had to take a more active role in the leadership of the team. And to me, this is Steph's team now. He's always sort of, shared in the responsibility of everything with a whole bunch of veteran players, including veteran reserves. You know, we've had really important leaders on this team and guys like David West and Zaza, Sean Livingston, Andre. It's always been sort of a group effort, but Steph is at the point in his career now. And we have a team that is so young that, you know, it's clearly Steph is, has just blossomed into this amazing leader.
And obviously, this question starts with what happened yesterday, and you don't want to talk about specifically, but it is meant more generally too. You'd certainly have all these young guys, very young guys, and you have the veterans who've been through so many campaigns together. There's going to be a natural generational thing, but do you have to balance that as a coach? I mean, you have first team, second team. It literally is the veterans and a lot of the young guys. And is that good, or is that at some point a little dangerous?
I think what makes coaching fun is that every season presents a unique set of circumstances based on the roster, based on where the team is. And we're just in a really interesting position. You just rarely see this, where a team can not only compete for a championship, but actually win one like we did a year ago, and have all these young players who represent the future. So it's incredibly unique. For us, I think I look at it as a huge blessing. And it's my job as a coach, and it's our veteran players' jobs as leaders to make sure that blending of the two eras, happens in a really productive way.
All right, that was Steve Kerr, head coach of the Golden State Warriors. We're going to take a break. Steph Curry will meet the media on the other side, and we'll have it live on 95.7 The Game.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that comes with Security Edge, helping to protect all your connected devices, and the most reliable 5G mobile network. Want me to keep going? I can. Whether your small business is starting or growing, you need Comcast Business. Technology solutions that put you ahead and give you serious savings. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security. Together for just $69.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Or find out how to get up to a $650 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Limited time offer, restrictions apply. New 50 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. Requires enrollment in EcoBill and AutoPay. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Comcast Business Mobile utilizes the network with the most RootMetrics 5G data reliability wins in 1H 2022. Results may vary, not an endorsement.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new, because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
For all contest rules, go to 957thegame.com/rules.
Hi, this is George with Left Coast Buyers. We buy properties all over California. If you own a house or an apartment building and want to sell it fast at a great price, call us at 925-434-5000. We can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. We buy properties in any condition, any price range, and can help you in any situation. Do you own a property that is run down and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Are you out of time, money, and energy? Let us help. Are you looking for an easy way to get top dollar for your property and sell on your terms and timeline? Well, call Left Coast Buyers now at 925-434-5000. We can solve any problem. We buy divorce houses, inherited houses. We even buy vacant houses and abandoned houses. Do you have a tenant who hasn't paid rent? Are you behind on property taxes, mortgage payments, or even facing a foreclosure? Even if you're just nervous about capital gains or an upcoming recession, we've seen it all. So if you or someone you know owns a property and needs to sell, call Left Coast Buyers at 925-434-5000. That's 925-434-5000.
If you're a professional builder or designer, here's some good news from Golden State Lumber. Their relationships with Capital Lumber, Cal Cascade, Humboldt Sawmill, and others have led to an increase in lumber inventory. Golden State strives to deliver most materials the next day, if not the same day. Be sure to download the Golden State app, which provides access to hundreds of resources. Find it at goldenstatelumber.com. For 3 generations, Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed.
Wendy's new French toast sticks are so delicious, some are saying that they're better than their mom's breakfast.
Excuse me. Did you just say Wendy's new French toast sticks are better than my breakfast?
Mom, is that you?
Answer the question.
I said some people are saying that because they're so crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside and perfect in every way.
Uh-huh. And what do you think?
I think it's time to tell people to choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new sweet and crispy home-style French toast sticks.
That's still not an answer.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Are you ready? At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us. That's why MVP's rewards members can earn bonus points on select products from brands like DeWalt, Purdy paint applicators, and GRK screws. Then redeem your bonus points for exciting rewards like tools, grills, Lowe's gift cards, and more. Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards today to start earning. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Subject to program terms. While supplies last. Visit Lowe's.com/MVP's bonus points for details. Now through 10/28.
Festivals, football, flannels. Some say fall is their favorite time of year. And this fall, there are now updated COVID-19 booster shots designed to help protect against COVID-19 variants. If you've had your primary series, schedule an updated COVID-19 booster shot appointment as soon as you're eligible. And don't forget to enjoy the foliage. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
In for, there we go, John Dickinson in for Daryl the Guru Johnson. You just heard from Steve Kerr, and Steph Curry will be coming up momentarily. Steph Curry, Bob Myers, Steve Kerr, all meeting the media yesterday, acknowledging a physical altercation between Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. Draymond Green was sent home yesterday. He didn't practice today. The team won't practice tomorrow, so he won't be around the team. Steve Kerr said he will be back on Saturday. Again, I'll go right to Steph Curry when he sits down. But in the meantime, JD, you and I both, one thing stuck out that Steve Kerr said, and it was he made a point to basically address that Jordan Poole's been great in training camp.
Yeah, fantastic throughout camp.
Yeah, because there was a story in Yahoo Sports that maybe his attitude was coming on too strong, or that he'd changed, getting cocky, this, that, and the other thing. Steve Kerr went out of his way to say Jordan Poole's been great this training camp, which to me is not a shot at Draymond, but he's basically saying, I don't think Jordan Poole did anything wrong.
Yeah, he's saying that Draymond's inability to control his temper or his anger in that moment had nothing to do with this reported change that had been not only not bothering Draymond, but bothering the veterans. That was the part of that report. And look, Chris Haynes is tied to Clutch and to Draymond's side of it. So it basically, when it comes out from Haynes, not that it's not true, but it's one side of the story.
Yes.
And that's the side.
Agree. And the one thing that I noticed, Bob Myers came out first, president of basketball operations and general manager. I wouldn't say he was shaken, but I think this is completely old for him at this point. It's just gotten old. And I sensed I can't believe I'm dealing with this again.
And right now, with less than 2 weeks to go until the season starts, and all of these decisions that are going to have to be made with regard to not only Jordan Poole, but Draymond and Wiggins and all of it.
Yeah. Bob Myers was also asked if this will impact the contract talks with Draymond Green and Poole, and he said no. It won't change their overall approach at all. Jordan Poole's eligible for an extension as long as it happens by October 17th. We're getting there. It's about 12 days away, 12 days away. And The one thing I thought of, and I'll just let you jump in here, is I wonder if inside that organization, the players know Jordan Poole is going to get that contract extension, and Jordan kind of knows it, and everybody knows it, including Draymond Green, and that might be one of the things why this came to a head.
Sure, and I think you can say that the money was not a direct reason that this went down, but I think it's absolutely an indirect reason.
Yeah,
why this went down.
I think there's a lot of it's like when a team loses, it's never one thing.
Well, and it's also when somebody snaps and goes over a line, typically it's not it's over built up frustration and not necessarily about the thing that happens in that moment.
Absolutely. Let's go to Moose. Moose is in San Jose. What's going on, Moose? How you doing? 888-957-9570. If you want to jump into the conversation, you've just heard from Bob Myers. You've heard from Steve Kerr. Next up is Steph Curry. But first, Moose. What's up, man?
I like that. I like the intro. I like that intro. Thank you,
Sure.
Steiny. Hey, JD, how you doing?
Good.
I wanted to just, make a quick comment. I called in for years defending Draymond Green. I can hear it in Bob's voice. These guys they're embarrassed having to deal with this stuff. I think that's the sense I got from it, having to answer for him once again. I'm now a physical altercation, not just calling somebody the B word. But here I am actually going to find a way to defend Draymond Green. Regardless of his actions, they are wrong. You shouldn't have to ever get to the point where you're putting hands on one of your teammates. But what I will say is going back earlier, Steiny, you made a comment about how many fans and many people believe that Draymond Green is the reason why KD left, or a heavy portion of the reason why, if that's little. And here I am defending Draymond once again because I see myself in him. But I believe at this point he's not the reason KD left. I think this offseason KD kind of proved. He's just the head case that we all kind of thought he was. Best basketball player in the world at times, but he has, some inner stuff he deals with, and here he is trying to jump ship again now for the third time. I think, not saying that absolves Draymond from his situation with KD, and I hate to even be talking about this again here 4 years later, but I think that's the way I saw it when KD comes out and says, "Hey, I'm out of Brooklyn now." It's kind of, if I'm Draymond, I'm sitting there thinking, "See, guys, this guy's all over the place as it is. He doesn't know what he wants. He wanted to leave us for Brooklyn for his situation where he basically painted the whole painting how he wanted it, and he doesn't even like the art he came out with."
Moose, I think that's totally fair, and the only point I was making, Moose, was that I believe there's a portion of Warrior fans who think or are worried now. Well, Draymond got KD out of town. Now here goes Jordan Poole going to leave because of Draymond Green. I agree with you that there were other circumstances to Durant leaving, not just Draymond. I'm with you there. But I do think that if it comes down that way, that'll kind of be the way it gets remembered. Draymond Green, you know what? He was a great player. He helped us win 4 titles. But he cost us the 1 in 16. He got into a fight with Durant, and now we lost Jordan Poole. Not saying it's accurate or it's fair, but that may be how it gets boiled down.
I think Steve Kerr going out of his way to mention how well Poole was doing and that report essentially was nonsense. I think that goes a long way toward sort of just announcing the fact that, hey, whether it's true or untrue, hey, Jordan Poole's not going anywhere. Like, in a way, like for now.
Right.
Like, again, we don't know a year from now, 2 years from now, whatever. And I'm not saying anybody thinks that he would be, but to me, it's a vote of confidence in Jordan Poole. I took it more as that than putting down necessarily Draymond's camp, putting something out there for Draymond.
I think it was 2 things. I think that's one of them for sure. Just saying, hey, making sure Jordan knows that they like him. But also, that's long term. I think in the short term, what Steve Kerr said is, hey, this was on Draymond.
Yeah. So you be you.
Yeah, Jordan Poole didn't do anything wrong. This is 100% Draymond.
Right.
That's what I heard, too.
And I think there's a little hint of, hey, we need Jordan Poole, too. Like, we know they need Draymond, but they need Jordan Poole, too. And because here's the dynamics of the if Draymond hit him in front of the team, like punched him in the face, as has been reported, at practice in front of the team, like that's something where if you're the head coach, you want to make sure that like people can maybe look at you a little bit differently for that happening, and you may act a little like maybe Poole was afraid to chirp and be himself and be confident, or wasn't afraid, but maybe after that happens, it's like you don't want, if you're Steve Kerr, him to necessarily change his demeanor or change his playing style. More importantly, especially when you think, as he said, that he didn't do anything wrong.
Exactly. All right, here's what's going on. We've heard from Bob Myers, president of basketball operations. We've heard from head coach Steve Kerr. We're waiting on Steph Curry. He's going to talk to the media. I can't say when. Maybe 5 minutes, maybe 15. I do know that even in the course of my career, JD, I've waited for Steph Curry to come and talk. He'll talk on his own timeline.
Well, he saved you one time.
That's right.
By doing that,
that's right.
Time.
He did. He was running late. Thank goodness.
You're big one-on-one with him a few years back,
and you did a great job, by the way, with the video and sound quality of that. 888-957-9570. We'll go to Steph Curry as soon as he takes the microphone. But yeah, what's funny is one of the things that I kept getting asked was, "Hey, do you think what's going on in Boston is going to give the Celtics? Do you think what's going on in Phoenix hey, you think what's going on with the Warriors is going to hamper their run for a title?"
What's funny is if this is going on with any other team, it's a big part of the reason why I would say that team can't win the NBA championship in a given year. I'm not going there with the Warriors. I'm not.
I'm not yet, but I'll tell you what.
Look at you.
And this is the one that I keep thinking about. Because let's cut to the chase. You get punched in the face in front of the whole team. We don't know how big a deal that is or not, because we don't know enough about Jordan Poole. But I know, depending on the dynamics, if I'm Jordan Poole, maybe it ain't easy for me to get over it. And it might not be as simple as, oh, these guys will be fine. And let me also note something, and I guarantee y'all get half Warrior fans saying you're trying to stir it up, but I heard Bob Myers acknowledge that Draymond Green apologized to the team this morning. Did he apologize to Jordan Poole? We didn't get that answer. That's more important to me than the team. The team's easy, I feel like, because the team's going to have – the team will support you if you're sincere. Jordan Poole, though, we'll see if he said anything to him or not. Let's go to Clifton. Clifton's in Vallejo. What's going on, Clifton? How you doing, man?
What's cracking on with you guys today, man? Top of the day to you, man.
Same to you.
Hey, man, this thing was with Draymond, bro. I always had problems with him. You know what I mean? In my perspective as a Warrior fan, I think when the Warriors traded Harrison Barnes, they should have traded Draymond Green instead of Harrison Barnes, because he was a better player. He was a two-time high school state championship. You know what I'm saying? The guy had game. But Draymond cost us the 2016 finals. Let's just be real about that. And, dude, how many times could you do this with your employee? But you causing up strife. Every year is some drama with Draymond. They should have got rid of Draymond, bro. That's the way I feel about it, bro. And I'm a basketball guy. I know basketball.
I know. Hey, Clifton, thanks. And I'm, I feel like I know a little about basketball too, like you, and I appreciate what Draymond Green has done for this team and how instrumental he's been.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, kgmz-fm and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
All righty. Matt Steinmetz, John Dickinson with you today. And let me recap what's already been a huge day. Yesterday, Draymond Green, Jordan Poole got into an altercation at practice. Today, Bob Myers met the media along with Steve Kerr, and Steph Curry is about to meet the media, and when he does, we'll go there live. But Steve Kerr and Bob Myers acknowledged the physical altercation between Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. Draymond Green was essentially sent home from practice yesterday. He did not practice today either. The punishment is going to be kept in-house. But Steve Kerr made a point to say that Jordan Poole has been great this training camp and that they couldn't have asked for more from him, and he's been terrific. And the reason Steve Kerr went out of his way to say that is because there's a report on Yahoo Sports that the team's growing a little bit tired of essentially Jordan Poole's cockiness and feeling too big for his britches. And Steve Kerr made a point to say that's not true. That's not who Jordan Poole is. And you and I both kind of looked at each other and thought, well, he's basically saying Jordan Poole had nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
And it's on Draymond Green.
It's on Draymond Green, and I thought it's twofold. It's one, you don't want the situation where Poole gets hit by Draymond to be something where it leads Poole down a path of being maybe more timid or somewhat uncomfortable. The other part of it, which you just brought up, I think is maybe even more important. And it's the fact that you want to make sure that you let Jordan Poole know that you've got his back if he's ticked off about it to the point where he's like, you know what, I don't need this guy. I'm about to get paid. I've already won a ring. You can take your culture and stuff it. He ain't worth it.
Right.
And I am. And so I think there is a backing of Jordan Poole that is important to note now, and that's something we didn't know at noon when we came on the air.
That's a good point. Cruiser, 209. Cruiser's in the 209. Hey, boy.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey.
Giddy. You know what, guys? I love Draymond Green. I've always loved Draymond Green. He's been my favorite. But I've had it. I'm sick of his act. It's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's the same old song, same old broken record, and I know Bob Myers is sick of talking about it. So is Steve Kerr. But something interesting when I was listening to to Myers and to Kerr, I was thinking back to remember a few years ago when David West was still on the team, and after they won the title, David West said something pretty cryptic. He said nobody knows how hard it was. Nobody knows what went on this season. And listening to Myers and Kerr, that got me thinking, what if there was another such instance behind closed doors that nobody knew about? And I would, I'm highly suspect that it involved Draymond and, maybe somebody else. So, I mean, this probably has happened some other time, and we're just finally seeing it. And, I'm fed up. Now the focus is going to be on that all year, like it was with KD's final year. The question was always, are you staying or are you going? We couldn't enjoy the basketball. And it's a circus now. And you know what? I'm sick of Draymond, man. I love Draymond, but now he's becoming a cancer, and he's got to be made an example of. And I'd rather take his money and give it to Wiggins or Poole. But Dre's, it's diminishing returns with him, and that's all I got to say. Thanks, fellas.
No, appreciate the call, Cruiser. I think a lot of Warrior fans are probably thinking that way. Draymond's a tough one. I mean, you cannot deny the value he has had to this franchise on the court. Well, you cannot diminish that
at all. And that is the cloak that does hang over all of this. It's one, and again, I think Bob Myers, you could just feel the exasperation in him. I don't know that there was a sadness to it, but there was a weight of defending champions. Everything should be going well. Yes, there's some contract issues ahead, but the focus is on running it back. And he even to go through all their chemistry when they were over in Japan and the way camp has been to this point, there was definitely a vibe of, oh my God, really? Why now?
Right. 10
days before the season, why now? 12 days before the season, why now? And that they've been through it before. And that it is as you laid out right at the top of the show, a big deal and something that is going to be focused on over the course of this season. And the reason it's going to be focused on over the course of this season is because both players are up for decisions to be made as far as their futures and how that all shakes out.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll be the first to say, I think it's a big deal, but I'm willing to acknowledge we don't know how big of a deal it is. But the reason we don't know how big of a deal it is, and I keep thinking of this, is every person, and I'm just going to put it crudely, any person who gets punched in the face in front of all their coworkers, who knows how they're going to take it? Who knows if they'll be able to accept an apology or turn the other cheek? Maybe Jordan Poole doesn't handle it.
Well, it makes every other exchange between those two now magnified.
Exactly. You're right.
And because everybody saw it and everybody knows. So it's, when, does Poole talk the same way to forget about Draymond, but to the rest of his teammates? Does he now feel he has to change something? Does Draymond feel that he has to change something? And I know you kind of laugh and look at me like, well, Draymond's never going to change. Well, what if Draymond does think he's got to kind of walk around on eggshells a little bit because he's down to his last strike after the Warriors holding him up and not maybe penalizing him in other situations when they could have? It has the potential to change every dynamic that we've known, frankly, about this team and the way they operate.
Leroy, Oakland. What's going on, Leroy?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you guys doing, man? You know, the best show in the business, man. And I'm just, Steiny, you know me, man. I get bummed out about this stuff with my teams, man. The Warriors and Draymond, man, I mean, I've always took the stance with Draymond is he's our own, right? He's our own. And we put up with a lot of stuff with Draymond because, if he was on another team, I'd always say I wouldn't be able to stand him. So I don't really have anything bad to say about Draymond because this is kind of what the organization and coach has allowed him to be. And my gripe is this. Where's Stephen Curry? Where's Klay Thompson to grab Draymond and go, wait a minute now. This is not acceptable. And this is my knock on those two guys. I don't know if they play defense or they just want to be quiet and not say anything, and they just want to, make friends with everybody and be friends with everybody so they won't say anything. But this is Steph Curry's team. This is Steph Curry's team. And the leader of the team needs to take Draymond aside and whoever wants to come with Curry, Klay, and whoever else and go, dude, you're not bigger than this. You're not bigger than this. Now, we've let you get away with all this other stuff, but it's got to stop now. And so I'm wondering, where's Curry and where's Klay in this?
Fair enough, Leroy. I think that's a fair question to ask. I think the fair answer would be, well, maybe they are involved in this trying to help, but it's that bad. It's that bad and they can't quite get these two together or they can't solve the problem.
Yeah, I also just think, other than I don't know that some big intervention needs to happen necessarily. And I think that's kind of what Steph and everybody's got to pull Draymond aside and tell him, I think Draymond knows he was out of pocket.
Right.
The problem is, would he do it again? And I kind of feel like history said he probably would do it again.
Right.
Something out of pocket. Maybe not this specifically, but seriously, what's worse? And I'm not really having an opinion.
Right.
But is this situation worse than the situation in Oklahoma City in 2016, where it was basically threatened Steve Kerr's life at halftime of a game in the locker room, and security were needing to come in to break it up because he was so angry that people thought he might actually physically hit the coach?
It's the same kind of.
I mean,
close. It's close, but there are a lot of people that think. I shouldn't say a lot, but I've heard a theory that when the Warriors did not suspend Draymond for that.
Yeah.
That's when they kind of gave up all their power over him.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And you could make the case where they were on that night, defending champion.
Right.
And I can't remember what they were, 50-5 or whatever the heck they were at that point. They thought, hey, let's ride it out because we're probably going to win another one. And then, ironically enough, he winds up in a situation that helps cost them that next one.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to break right now, and then on the other side, Steph Curry is going to talk about what happened yesterday at Warriors practice. Don't go anywhere on 95.7 The Game.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hi, welcome to the IKEA Fall Savings Event.
Hey, I'm checking off my fall to-do list. I've got apple picking done. Now I need a cozy rug for cider tasting night.
Well, we've got offers on rugs, lighting, and more. And as an IKEA family member, you'll save $20 when you spend $200 or more pre-tax.
Great. Now I actually have to make cider.
Visit us in-store or at IKEA-USA.com/fall savings event to get ready and save. Offer valid 10/7 to 10/10 in the U.S. Discount applied proportionally across items purchased as shown on receipt. See store and IKEA-USA.com/fall savings event for complete terms and restrictions.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Tired of companies like Google and Facebook watching everything you do online? There's actually a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, an oil change with full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advance can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $36.99. Find your solution for better fuel efficiency today at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com. Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply. Attention, do you suffer from severe fried chicken-related cravings? If so, Kentucky Fried Chicken's $6 two-piece drum and thigh combo may be right for you. The combo contains tasty chicken, creamy mashed potatoes, a flaky biscuit, and an ice-cold drink. Side effects may include more money in your wallet, happiness, and the urge to lick your fingers. Order KFC's two-piece drum and thigh combo in the KFC app for just $6. That's finger-licking good. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Tax extra.
What's your retirement look like? With Fidelity Income Planning, a dedicated advisor can help you create a flexible income strategy to grow and protect your wealth so you can stop worrying about the future and enjoy whatever comes next. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services member NYSE SIPC.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New Gigabit Extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity gateway.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS or go online at carsforkids.org to donate today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
Matt Steinmetz, John Dickinson with you. Be here till 3 o'clock, and we'll turn it over to Damon and Rado. And let me catch you up on what's going on yesterday at Warrior practice. Jordan Poole and Draymond Green got into a physical altercation. Today, President of Basketball Operations Bob Myers and Steve Kerr talked to the media after practice. Steph Curry is now coming to the mic. We don't want to miss anything. Here's Steph Curry on 95.7 The Game.
What's going on, Steph? Obviously, we know most of the situation by now. And in sports, nobody's saying it's okay, of course, but in sports, people fight. Tends to happen. Won't be the first time. Won't be the last time. I guess knowing that, what's the mood like of the teams? Is something like they understand stuff like this happens, or is there kind of an awkwardness in the air?
I mean, the vibe today in practice was great. Trying to take advantage of this week and make it about basketball and our preparation for the season. It's obviously an unfortunate situation that, you know, we're getting asked about it, and it's a situation that could have been avoided, but there's a lot of trust in the fabric of our team, who we are, who we know those two guys to be, and how we'll get through it and try to continue to make it about playing great basketball. The personal dynamics and stuff will work themselves out, and that's part, again, of the culture that we've built here. But, you know, I like how we responded today. We had a great practice, good energy. Try to keep that as the focus as we move forward.
Bob said in jest, obviously, that you told him you need a raise. Maybe you can parlay this into a payday at least.
Yeah, not everything needs commentary.
Steve talked about kind of his belief Jordan's been good attitude-wise during camp. I just kind of wanted to get your
perspective. Yeah, whatever that – there's a specific tweet that was put out yesterday about insinuating that JP's attitude or something has changed since he's been in this training camp, or even, you know, whatever time window they're talking about. It's absolute BS. Andre addressed it yesterday with his tweet, and you kind of leave it at that. JP's been great. There's nothing that warranted the situation yesterday, and make that clear. But it's also something that we feel like will not derail our season and what we're trying to build, and that's with Draymond, and, you know, as a part of that. So the rest of it, hard when speculation becomes opinion and turns into borderline fact of like what actually happened. So I hate that became kind of part of the narrative, which is not fair to JP.
Steph, you came to a franchise in turmoil, and your first media day had a little bit of drama, and here you are in 12 years later, 13 years later. Is it just part of the job for you that essentially there's going to be some drama at some point and you kind of got to deal with it? Or did you think like at some point in your career, these things wouldn't happen?
Sports is a kind of reflection of life. Like, there's always things that come up that you don't foresee, maybe not prepared for. The way I've approached it is you deal with reality as it comes. You control what you can control and react the way that you feel is necessary. As a leader, that's how I've done it my entire career, my entire life on and off the court. And no matter how many reps you get at handling situations, it's never fun. It's never great. But again, it's about, dealing with reality as it is. And whatever happened yesterday, we deal with it. We try to move forward and make the best of it. And, respect, again, what we've built. I didn't think yesterday or at any point, why is this happening? Or, I've been here for this franchise so many times. You don't catalog like all the things you've been through, because it's all, at the end of the day, it is all worth it because of what we've built. But it is a reflection of what life is. Like, you're going to have to deal with some stuff, and the great teams figure out how to do it and do it, professionally and make it about basketball.
You're listening to Steph Curry on 95.7 The Game, addressing the media about Draymond Green and Jordan Poole's physical altercation.
To get through it, to leave it in the past, and specifically with you and Dre, when you got a guy that you're so close with, you've been through so much with, how do you approach these moments? The KD situation had some parallels there, but how do you interface with Draymond when something like this happening again?
Be honest with him. He respects my opinion. He respects how I feel, and we've had those conversations. So be honest with him about the disappointment in the situation in and of itself, but also, I think we've earned the ability to say, I trust that you're going to do the work to figure it out. And, that's all you can do right now. You rely on the history, you rely on the confidence and who I know him to be. And, kind of put all your chips in that. So I think I don't want to overcomplicate it, because it's still fresh and new. And like, to your point, or the question around how was practice today, even just how we talked about it, and try to get on the same page with how we're addressing it, but also know we have work to do. Like, all those things are pretty fluid, and we just try to address it the best way we can. But I know between me and Dre, between Dre and the rest of the team, like, all those personal, relationships and the communication lines, like, it starts with honesty and openness. And, we've been together for so long. I think we know how to have those conversations.
Two things. Number one is, how did his apology land this morning? We heard he was, out in front of the team.
It's necessary, but you have to ask every guy individually how they received it. JP especially, but it's not for me to kind of summarize that.
The other thing, just there's a generational gap in this team that's, in some ways kind of unique. Just what are your view of just kind of those dynamics at play right now?
Everything is important. How we handle this situation is important. How Draymond responds to the space that he needs to come back with the right frame of mind on, again, doing the work, coming with the right energy, making it about the team. Like, all those things are important. And for him, one of his superpowers is being able to bring his fire and competitiveness and his voice. And I don't want him to ever lose that. So whatever it takes to maintain that presence and trust and rebuild whatever he needs to, like, that's the journey we're going to be on. So the young guys have to believe in who we are and what we've built and the culture that we feel like can help us get through stuff like this. And it's up to, me, Andre, the guys, Clay, the guys that have been around to embody that on a daily basis. So I think that's what we do really well.
Have you had a chance to watch Victor Wembanyama play yet?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of the game the other day. They play again tonight, right?
He's out here putting up numbers from three like you.
Yeah, he's like the 2K creative player. Every point guard that wants to be 7 foot. cheat code type vibes, but he's a solid talent. It's great to watch. They had a pretty entertaining game with the Ignite team, so it's dope.
You've been a part of a lot of intense, high-spirited practices. Probably didn't think much of anything was going on, but then when it crossed the line, where'd your mind go, and how did you digest what you just saw or a part of?
It's about protecting the team, and that includes Draymond and JP in that moment. Like, make sure everybody's cool. Like, create those boundaries that need to be in place, and then again get to the conversation that need to happen like right away, and the rest of the day and this morning. So I didn't know how to kind of rationalize what happened in the moment, but you also kind of just spring into action and trying to problem solve as quick as possible, and again protect those two guys and the rest of the team on. You kind of set the stage for how we're going to get through it. So it's not like you can wave a magic wand and do it all in that moment, but you start that groundwork on like setting the tone of how we're going to get through this, and a lot of experience on how to do that.
What's the value that a guy like Andre can bring as sort of a, I guess, leadership lieutenant to you on getting through things like this?
He does an amazing job of saying all the right things at the right time to the right people. Sometimes in front of the team, sometimes on a one-to-one basis. And every bit of it is important. Whether it's positive encouragement on stuff that's going on the court, or whether it's problem solving, some turmoil within the locker room and stuff like that. And that's always been apparent, and that value is it's invaluable what he brings in that front. So I'm not gonna sit there and catalog every conversation he had yesterday, but it was a lot in terms of bringing leadership and a presence of somebody whose voice is so respected across all the different generations that we have in the locker room, and coaches and front office as well.
I just want to touch on this point when you're talking about protecting the team, which includes Draymond and JP, as your immediate instinct. What do you mean by protect?
Meet them where they are in that moment. Try not to make it more than what it is, but level set on we're all here for a specific reason to play basketball at a very high level and all have success. And there's a lot riding on the fabric of the team to set everybody up for success. And people trying to get paid, protect, provide for their families. People trying to level up in their careers. We're trying to win championships. All those things matter. So protecting the team is anything that falls into the category of making sure that we're set up for success, to just go hoop and have fun and enjoy, the reason that we're all here. So it kind of means a lot of different things.
Steph, Bob kind of pushed back on the idea that the contract stuff was part of this. I mean, you've got as good a feel of the group as anybody. Do you feel like that situation with Dre and with Jordan and even Andrew has created a tough environment to move through? Is that playing a part here?
From what I feel and what has been said, no. So I got a lot of confidence in that, but that's for Draymond and to kind of speak on whenever that time is right.
With Draymond, like obviously he has a history of being emotional, and you guys like that at that part of him. But was this like something that was boiling over? Was it just like an emotional outburst, like a fluke kind of situation, or what kind of like triggered this to happen?
I don't know, but I think to Monty's question, it was nothing out of the ordinary until it wasn't. So again, you just deal with reality as it comes, and that's what we're all doing right now.
Do you as the OG on the team, do you feel like part of your role is making sure the younger players who haven't been through anything like this before kind of understand what's happening and what's good and what's bad out of it?
1,000%. That's what the job entails. That's even if it doesn't, I assume that responsibility because everything does matter in terms of making sure everybody's experience is fun, is enjoyable, is memorable, whether we win or lose. Like, we spend so much time in the confines of, this team atmosphere. It all matters, and having been around and seen so much, hopefully I can relate and articulate what it's going to take to get through stuff like this. And it is possible to get through stuff like this. So that's, I don't want to be too somber, but it's these like inflection points and these moments can make or break a team. And my job is to not let it break us at all.
You're listening to Steph Curry talking to the media. You're listening to 95.7 The Game.
And some guys played really well. It actually the scrimmage ended in a tie, in case anybody wanted to know how basketball went today. It was phenomenal. So we'll get to those questions later, right?
Have you seen Scoot Henderson? That's what we need to know.
I'm a graduate now, so I can use big words.
All righty. That was Steph Curry talking to the media. Let me summarize on 95.7 The Game. Incident yesterday at practice between Jordan Poole and Draymond Green. It was serious enough that Bob Myers, Steve Kerr, and Steph Curry met with the media today after practice. Bob Myers said there'll be a punishment, but they're going to keep it in-house. Steve Kerr acknowledged that Draymond Green was sent home yesterday after the fight or altercation, and he wasn't at practice today, but he'll return on Saturday. Team doesn't practice tomorrow. Steve Kerr also went out of his way to praise Jordan Poole during training camp, saying he's been great so far, which I think he can take as a sign that they're saying they support Jordan Poole, and they don't think what happened that he deserved it all. Steph Curry then talked to the media, JD, and the one thing that I thought about what he said, my takeaway, if you will, is it looks like he feels like he might have to get Draymond back in the fold a little bit. Like, that might be a little what he's worried about, is making sure when Draymond comes back, he's got the right mindset.
Yeah, and it almost sounded more like the Warriors are giving him a couple of days to clear his head before coming back than just hey, you're suspended, get the hell out of here, and you were in the wrong. There was something a little deeper, it sounded like, than just straight discipline, which Bob Myers didn't want to get into.
I think that's a great point, the more I think about it, because they could have come out. Remember, Draymond got suspended after the Durant incident.
Yeah, he did. It was a back-to-back. They played Atlanta the next night, and Bob came out at 5:30, I think, before the game, and maybe it had leaked out at that point, but it was basically, we're suspending him for tonight, and he'll be back tomorrow, and all of that.
See, this would make a lot of sense.
They could have done that today, and they didn't. They
exactly.
could have said, hey, yeah.
And you know why I don't think they did it? Because I think they know a suspension really at the end of the day probably isn't going to do much. I guarantee you, well, I shouldn't guarantee you, but I bet what they said is, hey, Draymond, tell you what, get out of here, meaning yesterday, take tomorrow off. We're not practicing Friday anyway, and if you want to be here, come back to practice on Saturday. But you can come back Saturday, but don't come back until you're ready. Something like that.
It also makes me wonder, and again, this is just trying to read the tea leaves. It makes me wonder about the apology. And maybe the apology was, hey, there's some things going on that have made me not act in a manner that I should be acting, and I have to work through that. So I'm going to get a couple of days, but JP, this isn't about you, my man. I apologize. I apologize to all of you. Our goal is to try and win a championship, but some of my frustration about my situation maybe has gotten me to a point where I acted out of pocket in a moment where I shouldn't. I got to take a couple days and clean that up.
Yeah.
And I'll be back.
Let's go to Tony. Tony's in Fremont. Hey, Tony.
Yeah, hey, what's up, man? Hey, Steinmetz, first of all, I think you should personally step out of this conversation because, man, for the last 4 years, the propaganda against Draymond Green is outrageous. You got all your little 95-7 guys coming in, and that's the other thing, Bay Area. If you love Draymond, you love Draymond. Don't come in and say, oh, I love Draymond, but... No, you either love him or you don't.
Tony, you're not a man of nuance, are you?
That dang Jordan Poole probably deserved that. Okay. You know, that's the whole thing. It's like no one wants to talk about that. The kid probably deserves it. Why, talking off, thinking he's all that. And the other thing, Steph Curry, he's definitely the face of the NBA, without a doubt. But I'm not so sure this is his team. Please, man. Without Draymond, there would be no championships. Everybody always wants to blame Draymond for the 2016. Oh, he cost us 2016. Well, if he cost you 2016, then you wouldn't have won him without the other one, right? I mean, enough is enough. Draymond is the backbone and the...
Thanks, Tony. Hey, listen, I'm sure there are a lot of people that feel like Tony. I'm surprised to hear enough is enough, and that means let Draymond be Draymond.
Well,
enough is enough coming down Draymond's road.
And I mentioned it during the changeover. I mentioned it at last night on Twitter. I said, hey, I could definitely see where the demeanor of Draymond would be like oil and water with the demeanor of Jordan Poole, and maybe the frustration over the money. Poole's yakking, and it is a scenario where maybe others are looking at Poole and thinking he's acting a certain way, and Draymond has just had enough. Like I can see where Jordan Poole can be a little grating.
No doubt.
There's whether it's dancing around, chirping, whatever, acting like he's a made dude already because of the money. I mentioned that earlier. Now, the one thing that we do need to point out in mentioning that is the Warriors have vehemently said that's not the case. And that was Steve Kerr and Steph Curry. But it is before we get deeper into knowing more information about it, it is fair to just wonder if it was the personality plus the frustration.
Well, you know what?
And maybe Jordan, in some people's minds, had it coming a little bit.
Well, and you know what? I think you're absolutely right. I think it had to do with the demeanor and the money. Something was going on, and then what happened. But once it happened, to a man, everybody is saying it's Draymond's fault.
Correct.
Nobody has said, well, it was two guys getting into it and they both have beefs maybe. No, it was everybody categorically has said basically Draymond was in the wrong.
Nothing, even Jordan's been great, but even if Jordan did something, Jordan did not do something that warranted that.
Exactly. And by the way, I should point out, this is the second altercation between Poole and Draymond Green. They had a sideline dust-up back in November of 2021.
Was it really a dust-up? Was it a dust-up?
Hey, 3 guys were pushing Draymond Green away, including Steph Curry. It was one of those sideline things that, it happens,
I was watching
3 or 4 times a year?
Yeah, I'm watching it back.
Look at him.
Right
They're
now.
pulling him. Toscano Anderson and Curry are pushing him away.
Yeah, and I think Gary Payton's maybe in there too.
Yes, he is.
Was there... I don't know, but did he actually...
Oh, Draymond was it. I'm just saying, there was that.
But he didn't actually physically make contact.
Oh, no. But they had words. Shaka in Berkeley. What's up, Shaka? Verbal altercation last time.
Man, I think everybody should take a step back for a minute, let's cool our heads for real, because right now we all saying, there's a lot of people that are against Draymond for what he did, what he allegedly did, and we wasn't there, so we don't know, but I do know he's been a great player for our team. I've been a Warrior fan all my life. First time we won a championship, I was 9 years old. I had to wait 41 years later to win another one. He was a part of that. So what I want to say is we need to give him, he's done a lot for this team, his organization, his culture. We need to he have some other things going on. So maybe we should let that happen. As the team is there, let them handle it internally. But like Geno Smith said, everybody's riding him up. I hope that Draymond don't write back.
That's Shaka in Berkeley. I mean, it sounds to me like the team's saying, Draymond, Go get yourself together.
It was your fault. You apologize.
Right.
Go get yourself together. Come back, and we will try to move forward. Like, that's the thing.
Right.
All you can do is try to move forward. I'm not going to speak to whether there's a guarantee that they can move forward. Like, this is a big deal. You said it right off the top. First thing you said to me this morning when I walked in and we were starting to map out the show, this is a big deal. The one thing that I don't think, coming off of hearing Bob Myers and Steve Kerr and Steph Curry, the one thing I don't think is that everything's just fine now. Everything's just fine
I agree.
now.
Yeah, good call.
Everything's just fine now. Like, nothing to see here. Like, it may turn out to be nothing to see here, but we have no idea, nor should we assume that there's nothing to see here moving forward. They have to prove that. Draymond has to prove it. Poole has to prove it. The rest of the organization has to prove it. Like, because when things happen from time to time, we don't always know everything that's going on.
Thank you.
But the team that, like, this is something now where everybody's going to be watching it, and it can fester and become something on its own, independent of what it already has been.
Right. I was talking about that the other day. I'm going to harken back to 1997 when Latrell Sprewell, and PJ Carlesimo got into a physical altercation. And without going through the entire story, what we found out after the physical confrontation was that stuff had been happening all year that they had, quote unquote, kept in-house. So to me, this sounds like this may have been going on for a little while, certainly throughout training camp, if you will. And I think it sounds to me like Draymond was antagonistic or instigating because Myers, Kerr, and Curry essentially made it clear that it was Draymond's fault. Draymond said what happened. I'm sorry. Here's what I thought was a big takeaway from Curry. He basically said Jordan Poole did nothing that warranted what happened. So that means it's Draymond's fault, and everybody knows it's Draymond's fault. So what's Draymond going to do? Well, you know what? Who knows? It's Draymond Green. I mean, I'm dead serious.
He's got to figure it out.
Yeah, that's what I think is going on.
And look, here's the other part of this, why it's not over, is because Jordan Poole's got to speak to it at some point, and I understand him not doing it today. Today was for the president of basketball operations and the head coach and the face of the franchise and the system. And tomorrow it sounds like it's going to be about nobody. But at some point here between now and Sunday, Draymond's going to have to address it, and Jordan Poole's going to have to address it. And then we'll see where everybody goes from there.
This was also the kind of thing, that obviously happened, and that's the other. I guess what I'm saying is that's the sense I also got today from everybody is it wasn't nothing, and they are concerned about things moving forward. Jimmy in Dublin. What's going on, Jimmy in Dublin?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Thank you.
I just want to touch on a few things. Man, the first thing, man, is, hey, man, first of all, hey, you don't go putting your hands on nobody unless somebody's putting their hands on you. It doesn't matter what Jordan Poole said to him. That does not matter, man, because at the end of the day, if Jordan Poole wants to take it there, then he can go press charges, and get Draymond for assault. Then we'll be looking at something totally different. But I just don't understand. And then, another thing, the other guy called in, like 2 or 3 calls ago, saying that enough is enough. No, enough is enough with Draymond. I don't understand how he sits up here and backs up Draymond when the GM, the head coach, and your star player said that Jordan Poole did nothing. So that just lets you know right there what kind of, just how off people are thinking these days, man. But you guys have a good one.
I'm with you, Jimmy. Everything you said, I agree with. I really do. And, I saw Bob Myers up there. I can't believe I got to deal with this again. I saw Steve Kerr going out of his way to say Jordan didn't do anything wrong. And I heard Steph Curry say that what happened at practice, Jordan Poole did not warrant. What Draymond Green did to Jordan Poole was not warranted. The other thing I was thinking is, we don't know to what degree this is a big deal, but when Draymond Green and Kevin Durant had their spat and Draymond Green got suspended, he did not like that the front office took Durant's side. In fact, years later, Draymond Green would go on his podcast and say, oh, yeah, Bob and Steve effed that up. So recently, he still believed that the Warriors did not handle that situation with Durant right. So what if Draymond Green's at home feeling victimized again because he's listening to everybody talk, and guess what? Nobody's exonerating him. Nobody. So we got a lot more to figure out.
But as the last caller said, I mean, anytime you hit somebody, I mean, really,
I agree.
Like, you're wrong. Like, you're in the wrong.
No doubt.
Like, it's like what, and again, like I said, I gave more leeway to, I could see where the demeanor may create some kind of conflict, but the one thing, like, it's never okay to just punch somebody.
Right.
Without consequences. Never.
Randy in San Lorenzo. Hey, Randy, how you doing, man? What do you got?
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So what I see here is a codependency relationship with the Warriors organization and Draymond. It reminds me of the unruly or obstreperous employee who feels that they can go around doing whatever they want, and their manager or boss doesn't do anything for one reason or another. And I know if Bill Belichick was Draymond's coach, he would be out of there. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, I know that's easy to say.
No, he wouldn't.
I know, it's easy to say. Well, first of all, it would have, what I'll say is if you want to go there, probably doesn't get to this point.
Yeah, maybe not.
So, I mean, that's how I'd quickly answer that. But
I think that even the circumstances by which the Warriors win the championship and then they don't, and then they get Durant and they win two more and then they lose, and there would have been a point where if you're evaluating your franchise coming off of 2019, you would say, all right, is it time to make some big time changes or not? But the reason, meaning maybe move on from somebody at that point that had helped you but also had been a problem in certain ways. But because of the circumstances of, Steph got hurt or Clay got hurt and then Steph got hurt, and it's like, so you didn't, in essence, you wanted to run it back one more time, so you waited, and then you wound up waiting 3 years, and then you wanted again. So it's like, in a way, there hasn't been this perfect time to maybe move on because you're always thinking that you still can win one more, and now they've proven they could.
I agree. I agree, and I think that's what I was kind of talking about a little earlier. So they win it in, when did they lose to the Raptors? 19?
19.
Okay, so they lose in 19, but they're
Clay's
decimated by injuries.
Yeah.
So the next year they win 15. They're going to try to piecemeal it together. They do. They go 39 and 33, but Clay gets hurt again. Doesn't play the whole season. Like what? And I do remember at one point, Joe Lacob after that season said, we just feel like we owe it to the big three to bring them back one more, bring them back. I don't think they anticipated a championship. In fact, I think the Warriors anticipated a playoff run, and then at that point they could kind of assess where they were and see if they could get over the top. But once they won it last year, now you can't really mess with it. Now you have no choice but to run it back. And that's what I kind of think they're trying to do. Brian in Vallejo. What's going on, Brian?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Going well, man. Thank you.
Yeah, so, I think it's, being handled professionally, considering all factors, like we've all been over for the past hour here. It's the dawn of a defending championship team going into the season here. I think they're going to recalibrate real easily. There might be some tension here and there, but I think that's why they're all Warriors. They're competitive, and as long as Draymond's not just wasting his physical competitiveness in practice like that, he better show out the season all the way into the playoffs if he's got time to be, roughhousing like that. So with that said, I'm confident that, we'll see a championship caliber team go right back to back. Last time they brought somebody in from the top two draft picks, they won back-to-back championships. And, Andrew Wiggins is on our side. I think as long as they're all vibing that way, we'll be fine. Thanks.
Thanks for the call, Brian. And that's what I'd be worried about. I don't know that they're vibing that way.
Long way to go, though.
No doubt. long way to go. But it's funny.
At some point, though, the allure, and we'll see how the season begins and how healthy they are and development of young players and all that. But at some point, we're all going to be focused on this now, and we should be. And it's going to be a big part of the conversation moving forward here. At some point, though, I think the players in the locker room realize they're good enough to win a title, if they are, and that takes over.
Fair.
Like, I firmly believe that about this group.
But they can't win a title if Draymond can't get rid of this axe to grind, and if Poole is feeling some kind of way because a guy punched him in the face. I don't want to harp on that, but I kind of do want to harp on that.
There's a human element to it.
Exactly. And everybody who would be in Jordan Poole's spot would react differently. So we don't know how Jordan Poole is feeling right now. And I mean, like, it's interesting. Would I say the Warriors can't win a title? No, I wouldn't say they can't now.
I think they're the favorites still.
But I will say this. I think it's knowing, let's put it this way. If I said the Warriors, I don't want to do this. I think the Warriors are 50% chance they win a title. After now I would reduce the odds. I really would, because, and I'm not saying this will decimate their season. It's going to be far more subtle than that. But I do believe you better be on the same page. You have to be to win a title. And they're going to have to figure this out. And Steph Curry said as much. Wow, good stuff.
Still time, though.
No, it's a long season. 54? Okay, so we got a minute and a half left. Okay.
Sneak in another call.
Yeah, I'll sneak in Vince. Vince is in the city. What's up, Vince?
Hey, what's up, guys? I think this whole problem with Draymond and Jordan Poole is going to be, the only way it's going to be resolved is it's going to take the whole franchise really to get together, and they're going to have to hash this all out. When Draymond went on his podcast with KD and they were talking about their issue, they were upset and said that management messed it up because all they did was try to sweep it under the rug instead of address it head on and talk to them and treat them like men. So that's Draymond's frame of mind, right?
Yep.
So I think they have an opportunity here to really get down and buckle down and, like, kind of put people in check. And, hey, Draymond, you're not Dennis Rodman. You can't just go out and do whatever you want, whenever you want. You're not that guy. Right. You are important, but you're not that guy. And JP, I mean, just like you guys have been saying, he's young, he's upcoming. He had a breakout year last year after being a dud for 2 years. He wants his money. He was a big part of our run. But, I mean, yeah, Wiseman is healthy. Wiggins probably going to stay. And JP is going to be the guy who's supposed to take over when Steph steps away. So where does that leave Draymond?
Fair. That's it. Where does that leave Draymond? I'm going to get you there, Vince, because we got to get done in 5 seconds, quite frankly. JD, thank you so much. Guru in tomorrow. Damon and Rado next. Don't go anywhere.